It's very exciting.
Anticipation. Oh my god.
The anticipation is
Yeah,
palpable.
I think it means we're live. I think we're live here.
I'll check here. I gotta share the
I
stream
think this
anyways.
is it. Yeah. All right. Well, hello everybody. Hopefully, the audio will all be okay and all that stuff. And of course, let us know if there's any issues. Kind of no real theme today. I definitely want to talk to Yahel about a bunch of the 3D modeling stuff in his videos. There's always a million things I want to ask Jimmy about, but of course, I think we have to do a little bit of a toast here. Breakfast beers. Jimmy, what do you?
I haven't gotten my beer yet, but I have a couple or two.
That's in the chat.
You have a mug with a Game Boy logo on it, so that's good enough. Jimmy, what are you
This is
drinking?
so people know I'm a gamer.
I have a lot of Japanese stuff, but in honor of you being in Nueva York, I got a Brooklyn summer ale.
Nice. I
Thanks
actually
getting brought up.
Yeah, I got Bronx Brewery as my backup here, and this is my last one of the Coastrisers. I know I'm saying that wrong, but yeah, I've been liking these. So,
All right,
cheers.
man. Cheers, and I got some cheers in the
Cheers, guys.
chat too. Cheers, everybody. It's nighttime for me, so I'm the normal one here for once.
To be honest, I think the last time I'm pretty sure the last time I drank this early was with you, Jimmy. I think maybe there was one other time on vacation in California where I woke up with my brother and we were just like, whatever, we never see each other, let's just crack up. I think we needed to finish a bottle of wine or throw it out, so we're like, you know what, it's good for longevity. Let's open the day with a glass of wine.
Good for longevity. Oh man, let me open up this chat. I went ahead and shared it. So yeah, I'll be drinking soon, but I gotta, it's early here, so I gotta wake up first.
Totally understandable. And everybody's different, but for me, I found that while I don't need alcohol, if I want to enjoy myself, I need some kind of fancy drink. So like the LaCroix waters, like the 0-calorie. Like I wasn't drinking last night because I knew I'd be drinking today.
Are those fancy?
They are for me because I just drink glasses of water all day long, just water after water. So at the end of the night last night,
the more French it sounds, the fancier it is in your own mind, right?
Yeah, I always call it LaCroix water. If anybody ever seen Absolutely Fabulous, you'd get the joke. And if not, it just sound like an idiot. LaCroix, sweetie. Darling.
I was gonna say real quick, I got the chat open, so just some people in there just saying hi. See some of your buddies, Vanessa and Vanessa, Beast.
Oh, hey,
yeah.
See Colin, Aaron Welch is in there. Yeah, a lot of people in there. Thanks for coming by.
Beast.
So we answered that question.
You know what? I think
we had somebody who's a newcomer too. So we're just shooting the shit. So
welcome. Yeah, funny actually. Now that I realize, I think Beast and I think that was the last time I did breakfast drinks. I think that was at noon though, so we beat him by about a half hour here.
Oh man. So you guys haven't? Well, I assume Bob, you haven't drank because it's what, like 11 something there. But Jimmy, it's midnight, right, where you're at. So have you been drinking, or is this your first?
I haven't been drinking a lot lately, so I primed it with one beer like hours ago.
Okay.
So I'm still kind of a good boy. Also, you got a $5 super chat from Archimagirus Sancti, who's I see him a lot in Historic Nerds streams.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, hopefully
On behalf of Bob.
we'll get Ian somewhere around here soon, so we could all have a good time teasing each other. But thank you very much. How do you say that? Archimagirus? Archimagirus?
Okay.
It's religious, you heathen. You wouldn't be able to pronounce it.
Oh. Sorry.
I actually don't know. So.
Anybody that follows my channel knows I can't pronounce anything ever. So.
Hey, me either. I get shit from mispronouncing stuff all the time. But then I'm just like, English is my second language, and like, oh, I'm very sorry.
Is it though?
You're just showing off at this point.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Oh wow, awesome! I'm always very bitterly jealous out of all my bilingual friends. My buddy Al, growing up, was Cuban, but his mom, obviously that he lived with, really didn't speak English, and his cousins who lived next door didn't even really speak Spanish. So he has a perfect Spanish accent and a perfect English accent. And whenever we would get really messed up together, we were kids, we were like 20, he would start a sentence in English and then end it in Spanish and then start the next one in English. And I would just look at him like, was that me or was that you?
Hey, I've never had that problem, but
We haven't drank
yeah,
enough.
when you said when we were kids and we get messed up, I was thinking like 8. That's
No,
what you were
no,
gonna
no.
say. I was like,
No, I did enjoy a few beers at an earlier age, but it definitely was at least double digits.
well, Jimmy's bilingual too.
Boy.
Is Japanese your first language, Jimmy?
English is my first language, and Japanese is barely my second language.
Oh, okay.
So,
I was
and
gonna
it'll be
say-
barely even more my second language once I start drinking.
I was actually just gonna say, wasn't there a grumpy developer that made a nasty comment about your Japanese or something?
Oh, when we started speaking, is okay, you do know Japanese. He said that my writing was horrendous.
There we go.
I was like, yeah, that's pretty much. I'm rude, so sorry. But let me just kind of bring this up real quick, just because we're all having a shooting the shit here. That's all kind of what we're doing here on the stream, right? Just
Absolutely.
having a chat. We'll get into like Yahel's sexual personal life in a little bit, guys.
Please.
You know, I'm gonna find a good transition. That might have been it. No, I don't know. Yeah, Bob just wanted to do a stream because it's like hang out. We don't get to we can't hang out in real life now, and Portland Retro Gaming Expo is canceled, which was going to be the big hangout for us anyway in person.
Yeah.
So I guess Bob, you're thinking just bring a bunch of people on here and have a good time. Maybe we'll just be background noise for people.
Yeah. I just selfishly wanted to hang out with my friends, and I actually had questions for both of you, so I was like, why don't we just do it all at the same time?
I was like, why don't I get a video out of hanging out with my friends?
Aaron Welsh, super chat for all beer Bob drinks till liver's over. Thank you, Aaron.
I'm actually gonna go ahead and grab a beer now. This coffee, I made it nice and strong, so I'm awake. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a beer.
I'm going to straighten out my camera because I keep thinking that I'm standing wrong, so I keep standing like this to try to even out, and then I realized my camera's just falling over. I had a Q&A last week, I think, where I didn't realize it, but my microphone at the stand was very slowly sinking in front of me, and it wasn't until like 30 minutes into it that I was like, oh yeah, let me pull that back up. And then when I went to process the audio afterwards, you actually see the wave file getting slowly smaller as the microphone drifted below my mouth. I'm like,
God.
rookie move. Oh. So,
Bob, so
what video have you been working on, Jimmy?
I've been working on something that I've been talking about for 2 years now, and actually, no, I have it right over here. So, here's a script. I just recorded last night, or actually yesterday morning, super early in the morning, and it's this right here. I don't know if everybody can see it, but this is
nice.
Aliens for the MSX. So I'll put that right over there.
Very cool.
Complete in box because I'm a snob. And there's the little MSX ROM cartridge. And so, kind of a cool thing about this game, just real quick too, is it's from everybody's favorite Final Fantasy developer, the only Final Fantasy developer. Well, I guess Square Enix now, but that's all I've been working on. So it's still very early, but it's been killing me that I've had something in there. And my friend Rewind Mike has a part in it too, and he did it like I asked him to do it, and he did it like in a few days. So I'm just a bastard, and I've not put this thing out for 2 years. Oh. So don't work with me.
Actually, I would always say just take your time in doing stuff. The one opportunity I had to take my time and do a video was the Rad2X video that just came out, and I still forgot.
Very nice, by the way.
Thank you very much. I still forgot to talk about two different things, and I made the wrong point. And I'm like, I had 6 months. Like, I should have just sent this out to I should have sent it out to. There's some people that always comment very harshly, but constructively, not like you fat moron, stop talking, like actual real criticism.
Not like blunt.
Yeah. So I should have contacted them and just asked, like, hey, would you mind just telling me what I'm missing on this one? But I don't know. I get so busy sometimes I just forget what day it is and move along. But yeah. The same person whose name I can't pronounce wants to know what kind of bass that is behind me. And I guess we'll jump around. We don't have to stay on topic, but that's actually that's a bass from Peter from In Flames. It's his signature model. And that was a giveaway that I didn't win, but apparently the person who won it got the bass, and the nut on the top was stripped. So I ended up getting it for like $100 or something, and I just bought one of those tools that digs in, so it doesn't matter if it's stripped. And I'm not a great bass player, but it's my favorite bass I've ever played. So yeah, if you're a fan of In Flames, you definitely can't see it from here, but the Jester head logo's on it. Peter signed the back and everything. So
nice.
Let me ask you real quick, since we're on the topic of music making devices. You're a fan of the Parappa the Rapper series, Bob?
Yes. From your video.
Yes. Oh, that's a really old video. That's embarrassing. But yeah, I always see these. I use Mercari, which is kind of like an auction website.
Yeah.
and I always see these fucking sweet Parappa the Rapper guitars come up, and they're usually like $150. So they're not like super expensive, but I always think like, oh man, I should propose, give Bob an indecent proposal and pay him with a guitar, Parappa on it. But I don't know if you like Parappa or not. Yeah.
I didn't know who that was until I watched your video because I heard you talking about it on Twitter. So then I went and watched your video, and then it was a good video. But I used to have a lot of guitars, and I ended up having to sell like all of them a couple years ago. So and now it kind of worked out too because anything that's not those two guitars is in my friend Colleen, one of my best friends, is also a music teacher. So I took some of the equipment I couldn't sell because it was a little too beat up and built like a recording studio in her basement. So I still have some instruments there. So if you ever did send a guitar to me, it would kind of be a waste because I would do a video on it and then it would go right in her basement.
Oh, I was just thinking for like something to hang in the background, and I guess you don't have this problem anymore. But for your camera to autofocus on that instead of you, like you used to have those problems. But
so here's talk about jumping around. Here's a nerd thing that I learned. The reason I sold my Sony A6300 camera and lens, which are amazing by the way, but the Lumix GH5 has an app called Lumix Tether. So when I used to use autofocus so that like if I moved, if I held something up, I wouldn't have to like climb around my setup to reach it because I'm like a few feet away from the camera. I'm working in a place like I can't extend my arms. I'm working in like a cubby. So the Lumix Tether app allows you to just fire open a little window and have it go through, because I use a capture card anyway, so I could manually adjust focus using my keyboard and mouse. So that solved that problem forever.
Nice.
So you have a question about the satiator in the chat?
Somebody does?
Yeah. Speaking of music, do you think the satiator will support MIDI chiptune development?
I just wish it would release at this point. I think that developer is really kicking himself, realizing that if he had buckled down and got it out last year, he would have sold thousands, and now there's just a bunch of options that people might have already picked over him. So if there was a special feature being advertised, I don't know if he'll be working on that. I think he'll just be working on trying to get some money to sell them.
Yeah, I am not qualified to speak on anything tech related. I just watch Bob's videos, occasionally go to his website, and see people who are in the tech industry have the retro tech community, would you call it?
Sure.
Have frivolous Twitter fights. That's my involvement.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I'm qualified to do.
But Bob, you're more of a guitar player, right? I think we might have talked about this at PRG, right? I think we drunkenly talked about our guitars or whatever.
Yeah, I've actually been working on something for, I mean, it's got to be over a year now. I just get so busy I don't have time. But I wanted to do Metal Mondays, where every Monday I post a video talking about some of the ways I play guitar, and not lessons. I'm not a good guitarist, but there's very few people I've ever seen that play like I do. And I think it's because I only had a handful of lessons and I had to teach myself. So I think I do things that you're probably not supposed to do, but I like them. So I might finally kick that off because my friend Mark, the lead guitarist in Answer Infinity, he's got a channel, Music with Marky, and he said, hey, let's do a video together. I'll send you a drum track and maybe just write a guitar riff for it, and then I'll solo over it. I was like, yeah, let's see. And as soon as I heard the drum track, I just heard this weird song in my head, and then I got excited because for once I didn't have to worry about lyrics and melodies. I could just go, balls to the wall, over the top. So that should be coming out within a few weeks, but it's a typical like lead guitarist over the rhythms, but it's me playing the rhythms, so it's basically two lead guitars going at the same time. So yeah, that'll hopefully be out, and maybe that'll kick me in the butt to start that Metal Mondays thing, just because I think I really enjoy it. It's something that I hope to never have to give up. So
nice.
You still playing music?
I mean, I didn't bring any of my guitars when I moved here. In fact, I sold them all. And I've been hesitant to like buy another one because we're gonna end up moving back to Florida like in about 7 months or so probably. So I don't want to like buy something else to ship,
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like when I played music, I always like played in bands, and I always like it would just consume so much of my life. I'm like, I don't really got that kind of time. So if I buy another guitar, it has to be like an acoustic guitar, something I can't get into like a metal band with, basically.
Did you sing too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you good at writing vocal lines?
What's that?
Are you good at writing vocal lines?
I mean, I'm not terrible. But
Well, I didn't.
do you mean like, wait? Are you talking about
Can
writing
I,
melodies or lyrics?
Melodies.
Oh, melody. Yeah, melodies. I'm fine as long as it's not a lyric.
Well, here's I didn't want to spoil this, but you know how people do like when they get the 100K, you know, and Yahel's creeping up on that slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He's been writing a love song to celebrate it. A love song to the most beautiful system in the world.
Well, there was one.
Sega Saturn, not the CDI. No, I'm just kidding.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
you also had a question in the chat too.
Yeah.
About adaptive controllers, which I think would be a really cool video to do.
What?
You.
Wait, what controllers?
Someone who has cerebral palsy. Adaptive controllers, so controllers that are accessible for.
Oh yeah.
Of people.
I'm just like trying to find the chat.
Find me a controller that Bob
can
use to be good at Castlevania with, and I'll be happy. Like that's the.
Yeah, I just don't think like I feel like I don't know enough about controllers in general, so I don't think I'd be like the right person for that. I'm sure we've all done videos where on topics that we're not experts on, right? But we do a bunch of research on, and that's fine. But I feel like there's so much to controllers that I just feel like I would surely miss something, you know. And I'm getting to a position where the channel's like big enough where like I don't know. Sometimes people will take my videos as like the authority on like that topic or whatever, and I don't want some mistake I make to become like someone's definitive answer to whatever.
Wait a second. No. Let's get to the cut of let's cut to the point of this. I don't want to be the guy known for controllers. I want to be the guy known for CDI.
I'm already the guy known for the CDI.
Oh, that's so sad. Let's let's put that on your tombstone and see how much vandals come by the old graveyard at night.
No, that is actually a video that is a video that I was looking to do, and then I realized to do a true documentary on that it would take a year. So I did plan on doing an interview with a group of people that do exactly that. They actually their premise is modifying controllers for vets. But they'll do it for anybody that wants one, and that way you could basically just have a controller made for you around whatever problem that you have. And I always thought it was awesome, and I wanted to do an interview, and then we were going to meet a couple times, and everything kept falling through, and then the world shut down. But that is something I always thought was amazing, and I really wanted to just sit down and have a conversation. And the guy, Dave, that I know, he was injured in the military, and he embraced it. So rather than be like, you know, everybody deals with things differently, of course, but rather than let that define him, he defined it, if that's a good way to put it. So, like, he lost his eye, so he has those glass eyes, just like in The Last Action Hero, where it's like, you know, they're awesome and stuff like that. So, and he's one of the people that works on that. So I think he'd be a lot of fun to talk to and just talk openly about all that stuff. But it's not going to be a documentary. It would be a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say one last thing about the adaptive controller thing. Like, I think it would be like I would be willing. I shouldn't say willing, but I would do like a video on a specific adaptive controller. Like I think Microsoft had that one that came out a couple years ago for Xbox. That was like it didn't have like a modular design, but it had like a lot of customization options to it. So I would do it like on a controller, but I think to like do like a big video on a bunch of adaptive controllers or the history of it, like I think I would be ill-equipped for that.
Yeah, I've seen some videos of like children who have some sort of disability using like I think the Microsoft adaptive controllers, the ones that kind of look like it's like a gutted DJ Hero controller.
That's
like
what I'm
really
thinking
cool.
of. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like, it just I'm a cold-hearted prick and a bastard, but I see those videos of like those kids playing games and being able to play games for their first time, and it makes me it warms the cockles of my heart. I'll put it that way.
I thought you were gonna say like it upsets you that they play better than you or something.
Yeah, they kicked my ass. Yo, lag switching. I played Street Fighter 5 with them. Those kids lag switching. No, it's really kind of a cool thing. It's too bad Yahel is too smitten with the CDI to do a video on it. But good luck with that interview, Bob. We need that.
Hey man, I'm trying not to bring up the CDI. I'm fine not talking about the CDI.
Oh, okay. We'll see how.
I'm like an alcoholic. I can stop drinking anytime.
Here's my next beer. You got a Starburst.
Oh yeah, we all know that one.
A very elegant Brondo.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I like the art actually. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they changed the art for this company recently. This is supposedly Japan's first microbrewery. Ichigo Beer in Niigata. But yeah, they have these cool little. I'll show you another one later. Little anime dude on it. So and
I will
an
switch
anime
as well.
blonde babe.
I had the Coastreiser. I know there's a few German people in the chat that are like rolling their eyes at me now, like, nice job, fatty, but no. And switching to Bronx Brewery, I actually thought I bought the variety pack, but I got Summer Pale Ale with lemon peel, which you've done right. This will taste good. Like the Leinenkugel, those taste good. And for anybody that wants to make fun of me, they have 5.2% alcohol, so it's not one of those 0.5 alcohol like lemon spritzer drinks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not trying to get Jimmy drunk and take
loss.
advantage of him.
Yeah, oh god. This is true too. I told him I was in the bath and I asked him if he wanted to peek, and Bob was like, "Dodge that question."
I mean, because the answer is always yes.
Oh god. Okay. Well, don't. It's on stream.
This actually isn't too bad, but I think having the really dark beer first, I think I gotta step off this for a minute and, maybe I should have had like a cracker or something in between to change my palate, but yeah, it's good. I missed the dark beer already.
Yeah, next drink.
Hey, we're on camera.
Uh-oh.
Says hello.
Hi, Lainey.
Lainey's the person that edits all of Yahel's videos.
Yeah, she's the mastermind. She does all my editing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have a Premiere Creative Cloud account. I don't.
No, she calibrates the laser on your CDI. We got you.
Yeah, all I do is play the CDI. I'm just the face.
Yeah, you're just basically that eye candy, a piece of meat.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel, Yahel?
Perfect.
I wish we could put polls in this chat. Is Yahel just a piece of meat? That would be a perfect poll.
I think she just yelled that she's the interior designer of the channel.
So I do have to ask, though. I really enjoyed the Neo Geo video.
Oh, I wonder why, Bob.
And, well, I mean, I don't. I like the Neo Geo. I don't love it. It's not my favorite console.
I only like videos that I.
Oh, I thought it's because you were in it.
Oh no, that's funny as hell. I really like that, but if I had seen that video 2 years ago, I probably wouldn't have thought so much about this. But all I could think of the entire time was, how much time did you spend on those 3D models?
I mean, at the beginning, a lot of time, because I didn't know what I was doing. Not that I know what I'm doing now, but I was kind of learning as I went. And I didn't create all those models. Like I give credit at the end for a few of them that were like available on Sketchfab or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, at the beginning, like it was I was so bad at like just setting things up and just not knowing what I was doing that like a 4-second scene or something would literally take like a couple hours to render. Mm-hmm. And then finally, like by the end, I was like, oh, I kind of had a better idea what I was doing. But yeah, man, at first I was spending like days on a few scenes, like the very beginning thing with like that Neo Geo MVS cap kind of rolls forward and that kind of stuff. Like that took me like a day and a half just because I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, I mean, by the end, it wasn't too bad. I mean, especially like once I built that room that a lot of the scenes take place in.
Yeah.
Like once I had like that built, it went a lot faster because it was just like making little tweaks to it, panning the camera, changing like video textures for stuff. So
that's what you did. You built the room in a 3D modeling software and then just panned the camera for the different shots, right?
For all the bedroom scenes, that's pretty much what I did. But there was like another couple ones where like I had, like that a couple different brick wall scenes. I did have to create that Vanguard cab. Imagine that there's no cab for like Vanguard, like some 1978 arcade game that like nobody's heard of,
Yeah.
So I mean stuff like that took a long time. But yeah, I mean the bedroom stuff, like I said, once I had it set up, it wasn't too bad. It was just learning how to use the software and like just little things, man. Like I didn't know how to make like a video texture. Mm-hmm. And there was like, and every guide you find out there for Cinema 4D is always like they assume that you already know like everything about it except the one thing that the video is on. So like it was just a steep learning curve. But
what software did you use?
Yeah, Jimmy, just shut up, okay?
I know my place here.
Because Jimmy is so much farther away, there's always going to be a slightly more delay. So I gotta like keep my mouth shut and keep forgetting that like I gotta count a beat now. Not only are we doing a Skype thing, but we're doing it across 3 completely different parts of the planet. So sorry, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used. Oh, hey, historic nerds in the chat, and so
that's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
One thing, yeah.
Made Cinema 4D his biatch.
Yeah, it was pretty much Cinema 4D, with some like other like random compositing stuff I would have to do in After Effects after the fact. But like the funny thing, one of the things that took me the longest time was the simplest model, which was making the Neo Geo memory card, because that was the first model I had ever made. And it's super simple. I mean, it's just a fucking rectangle, right? But I didn't know what I was doing. So it took me like, I don't know, like 3 days. But I was like, if I make this myself, it's a simple model, I'll learn a lot about the program, and hopefully it'll make other things easier. So that was kind of the thinking.
I always wanted to get into stuff like that, but I just not only have no time left, but I'll do things like cut up something in Photoshop so it's in 4K, and then I'll go over to MS Paint because you can't get an easy arrow in Photoshop. The damn program can do everything except drop an arrow, and then I'll just have like 3 or 4 things in a row where there's different, like add different things pointing at different stuff, and all I would love to do is do a 3D model and have like animations, and I'm like, this is a 40-hour video with my crappy editing skills. It would be a 400-hour video if I needed to do animations. That at the end of the day, for any kind of technical stuff, it's the same thing. It just would be sometimes that really good visualization makes it easier to understand. But
Right.
Man, I don't know.
Or it gets people to stick around for the video, because they're like, oh, okay, this looks well produced. This looks interesting. So that was another reason why I did it. But I had tried to do the 3D stuff for the Nick Arcade video, and I started like kind of like had the same concept where I was gonna like have a bedroom, be like the hub for the video, and it took me like almost a week to like build like some walls, a floor, texture them the way I wanted them, and light it. And I was like, I can't fucking do this. This is gonna take forever.
And it kind of stinks because you can't really reuse that footage. Like if you were referring to the Neo Geo, of course, reuse all that 3D footage. But unless you were referring to the exact thing that you were talking about, it's not like you could just spend a really good job making these tools and then reuse them in every video, So it really is dedication to that one storyline.
I will say, though, that I think 150,000+ views is worth it. Right, Yahel? How much is it at now?
I think like 180 something.
Okay.
Thousand. So.
I think it's worth doing that. One thing I just wanted to say real quick, Yahel, you're describing this stuff. That doesn't sound so tough. I can't do that. Also, I noticed you said you didn't know how to make textures. Neither did anybody who made a 3D game on the CDI. Did they even make a 3D game? Poorly.
Hey, there is a 3D FPS game, again, I'd like to remind you, on the CDI, Atlantis The Last Resort. The gentleman that made it actually recently joined the World of CDI Facebook group, so I may,
oh, God.
reach out to that gentleman.
Is that the game where you can only point the gun forward towards the screen and shoot yourself because you're on the CDI? The developers were trying to send a message?
That's fair.
All right, I'm sorry. We shouldn't be talking about the CDI. We made a pass.
Like a Wolfenstein style shooter, and it's not bad, man, considering what it's running on. It's pretty good. Very smooth.
Was that
terrible map?
Was that one of the ones that John Linneman talked about? Probably not, right?
I don't think he mentioned it.
Yeah, I did. For anybody who didn't see, I did a video with John Linneman from Digital Foundry about good games on failed consoles. And I forgot to edit it in, but I think I said something like, or I think I did edit it in, where like, don't say the word CDI 3 times in a row, or Yahel will appear, and then it's the picture of you, like, you're welcome.
The bathrobe, yeah.
Yeah, gotta love it. Some good games though. There absolutely were some that I didn't realize even existed.
Yeah, I need to like I still have like maybe at least a dozen CDI games or more that I haven't played ever. I just keep playing the same ones, so I need to like that's my goal for the rest of the year, to go through my CDI backlog.
Ooh. Now, do you think if your parents knew this was going to become with their child, that they would invest all the time and money in raising you?
They would have maybe made a visit to a clinic.
Yeah, that was a really interesting the video to listen. I liked a lot of the Sega CD stuff you mentioned. I think you mentioned like Body Arm. I'm trying to look for a copy of that. But I need
we
a second.
Kind of knew that the video was getting a little long, and that wasn't the format to go for 3 hours. That was a little bit more tightened in. So when we started mentioning the CD, I could see John just looking at his notes like, I could talk for another 3 hours about this, or the Sega CD. So we kind of just blew through some good recommendations. But half the things he mentioned, I never even tried before. So I went back and using the ROM card, tried a bunch of them, and it was freaking awesome. So, Jimmy, Nubo?
Nubo?
Did you make that video just for me? Because I kind of felt like you did. You opened it up with chocolate, and then there's a dumpy but lovable character that doesn't want to bother anybody, that runs around, but yet still somehow throws a fish. I don't know. I was like, that's hysterical.
Bob, if I was trying to capture your attention with chocolates and sweetness, I wouldn't do it in a video. I'd do it in the hotel. but maybe you're right. Maybe because of the whole Corona thing.
It's totally fair.
I was like, this is my chance, man. I bought all these candies to bring. I might as well just use them in a video. No, it's he's very Bob-like, that little Nubo.
I did enjoy the video very much, though.
Hanging down over there. I don't know if you can see him or not, but he's creeping.
Oh, yeah. Up atop, right?
The top, yeah, just creeping out of some box.
Love it.
So actually, Godzilla was asking this question earlier about recommending a good 4K video editing program on PC. I don't even.
When I start editing in 4K, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I don't even. I can't even do 60.
Do you do it in 4K?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Ps5, aka the Atom that gets things right, and he always recommended DaVinci Resolve for free, and I'd had a lot of people recommend that as well. The last time I tried it was years ago, and I just couldn't get into it. So if you're looking to get started and you want a free program, I think DaVinci Resolve is definitely the one to start. I use Premiere because I took the time to learn it, and now I'm too lazy to start all over again somewhere else.
Right.
And, Premiere has its issues, but I just got used to it. And I also got used to working around the issues. So that's what I use for that.
Yeah, the thing with I'm kind of the same way. Like, I want to try DaVinci Resolve because number one, I mean, paying like $50 a month for like the Creative Cloud stuff, it's ridiculous, right? After a while, too much CDI talk for Jimmy. He couldn't handle it. But it's ridiculous. And DaVinci Resolve, like from what I understand, like it doesn't have a lot of the memory issues. Right. That Premiere has, a lot of the crash issues, but like I have so much time invested into Premiere and how things work. I'm sure you have your own workflow and how you do things in Premiere. I have like a bunch of presets I've made. Like, I don't want to like start all over.
So there's so many things that like you just touched on nerves right now. So I don't set up custom workflows because of all the software I've used over the years. If I get used to a custom workflow, a new update comes and your custom workflow doesn't work anymore. You have to readjust to theirs. So I just work in the effects workflow. So.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean like the workspace. Like, I use the default.
Oh yeah. Because even
I just meant more like you have your set way that you do things in Premiere.
Right.
This is where this is. I'll start here. Blah, blah, blah.
But the only other thing that that's stopping me now is I use a plugin called GPU Resize. Shout out to My Life in Gaming for telling me about that one. But it allows you to integer scale anything into 4K, and manipulate it any way you want. So before this, every time I would have a 240p capture, I would have to pre-render it, which takes, not only does that take a long time, but now you have an extra terabyte worth of files when you're done. Whereas with this, you just use the original 240p capture and use that to integer scale it. So I would have to make sure that DaVinci Resolve supported something like that before I even thought of switching over.
Yeah, and then the other thing for me too is, I use Photoshop quite a bit and After Effects. So then it's like, well, I don't know what can DaVinci do all the stuff that After Effects does, and blah blah blah. And now I'm using fucking Cinema 4D Lite that comes with the Creative Cloud stuff like an idiot. So I don't know. I've
still never used After Effects. I'm afraid to go down that road.
Don't start.
I feel like it'd be like you, where I just get sucked into it.
I've never used it
2 weeks later, I got a 3D model of something going for no reason.
You know who's really good with After Effects, and to me it's insane, is Ian, Historic Nerd. He edits his videos in After Effects. Huh. He does like all his editing in there.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
He's pretty nuts. Also, I put something in the chat, Bob, earlier, but I was looking for my box for my editing software. I was gonna recommend to you guys. I thought you guys might get a laugh. It's something I've been using since 2013 when I started YouTube. It's the Sony Movie Studios Platinum Suite 12.
Oh, the
I
platinum.
still use that. I use that, yeah, man, the Platinum Suite, so I can record my audio on Audio Forge. Also, the Girl Geek asked me a question about.
I knew that's where you were going to go.
This is the second time I saw that. I was like, "Oh, I gotta go bring this out." Well, you know what I gotta say about the Casio Loopy is that girls know how to have fun too. I don't think I was the target audience for it, but I had some fun painting and printing out my own stickers.
That's hysterical.
I wish I had some so I can just stick it right on you guys right now, but it's kind of a piece of junk.
That's hilarious. As soon as I saw Danielle post that, I was like, Jimmy's going to go get the loopy. I know it.
State of Mars was saying that's how Linus Tech Tips did it. Rough cut and Premiere, then the rest in After Effects. But I think Historic Nerd is DI. He might be able to jump in the chat.
Yeah, let me try to add him here.
Let me. If you have trouble getting him, I can DM him.
I can.
I think he does like all his editing as like sequences in After Effects, renders them out, then just ties those clips together in Premiere and for the final render. Which to me, that would drive me nuts, but obviously it works for him. Because like every time I'm in After Effects, I'm like, fuck, how do I do this? There's always like something that I'm like, what? How do I do this? And it's always different than the way you would do it in Premiere.
Well, could you get Ian on here, get him to friend me on Skype or something? Yeah. And I want to answer the super chat question. Christopher Carey, thank you so much for the support. That's awesome. He asked that he's doing an Ultra 64 HDMI mod. Any tips or advice? So there are a couple. First, I was able to successfully complete a few, and I'm intermediate at best. So as long as you have decent skills for this, it's good, but you need patience. And you need flux, and that's the key. You got to put that ribbon cable over, smother it in flux, get your iron a little bit covered in some of the solder, and like paint it over it. Watch some Voultar videos. And there's definitely some good techniques you can get from there. You might be jumping in at some point today too, but that is by far the hardest part, is getting that flux onto those tiny pins. And if you mess up, don't freak out. Just kind of use flux and desolder braid to get it out, or even before you do that, kind of paint it. Just clean your tip really well and just kind of paint it over it in order to get the solder distributed across, and then check everything with a microscope. If you don't have a microscope, take a cell phone picture and then blow it up and keep taking a couple. But yeah, it could be very tricky of an install, but it's not as hard as a lot of the other ones out there.
I tried calling Ian, and he's not available.
Oh, he said he's getting his webcam ready and a shirt.
Come over here and school these fools about After Effects.
Tell them shirts are optional.
Shirts optional. You hear that, Ian?
Well, I don't know if I can handle that. I'll tell them their shirts optional.
Oh yeah, Dave's done a bunch of great mods. I just funny, I asked Jose to mod my CDI for me, and I copied Dave's install. Dave sent the pic, and I sent it over to him.
So who would you recommend just for people that don't feel comfortable with soldering and want to mod some of their consoles? I mean, is there anybody you feel comfortable recommending that they approach to have that work done?
So there's a ton of really amazing modders out there, and I mean this respectfully, and I'll tease my friend because he's my friend, but you don't need to be Voultar. You don't need to be a big personality with a YouTube channel to prove that you're a good modder. You could just be a good modder that's not even on the social media. So are you telling him to get off? I'm just saying a lot of people only go for the bigger name people because they think they're the only ones out there, when with respect, it's just that they're the only ones with the big enough voices to go out there. So, Voultar is always amazing. Jose is stuck doing all of my mod work these days. That poor guy, I bother him with absolutely everything. And he's doing your Genesis 3 as well. So you got that, Yahel.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about
but
that.
I would basically just try to find somebody local-ish. So if you have to ship it, it's not going across the country. And and just ask for basic pictures, but be a reasonable human about that. I don't know if he wants me to share this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm not even 2 beers deep, so I won't regret it later. But like Voultar posted something years ago about here are some questions that you should ask a modder before going in. And they're all very fair questions. You don't have to ask everyone, just pick the one that's relevant to yours. And Jose got something similar a couple of weeks ago, and then when he responded, like, yeah, sure, I'm good at all that stuff, the guy comes back with, well, can you post some work that's proof of your triple bypass installs? And I must have laughed for a good 5 minutes straight, because I kept thinking, how about his name is on the board? Do you think that might be a good enough hint? Because it's a fair question.
I don't know how to read. Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, sorry, I don't mean to embarrass Jose, but I was absolutely dying. Like, I get the question and I get the caution, but the damn board has his name printed on it. You're pretty sure he's going to be an okay
The
installer.
ultimate skeptics. Maybe.
The earth is flat, goddammit. Don't make me throw you off the ice wall.
Well, it is.
That's pretty funny. Speaking of videos, though, Jimmy, you're working on a video that, from what I understand, according to your own tweets, you had been working on it for like long. Oh, you talked about this earlier. I think I walked in back from
you were going out to tell you're gonna tell Lainey, like, don't you ever walk in again while I'm streaming with Bob and Jimmy. I'm not.
Yeah, sorry. You guys already talked about it. I walked in like at the end of the conversation.
Oh yeah, it's just aliens, and I don't know. I was intimidated by it, so that's why I kind of put it on the back burner for a long time. And I did the voiceover, and I was listening to it, and it's like, oh, this sounds boring. So we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, it's got a really fascinating backstory because it was one of Square's early titles before Final Fantasy, which, you know, that's their bread and butter, right? Yeah, it's just kind of a neat thing. They I don't know. It's one of those stories. The story of aliens for the MSX. Is that going to be your next video, Yahel? Are you going to preempt me on this?
I don't know, maybe.
Are you gonna? Yeah. What would be the equivalent of a cock block on YouTube?
Like, I think the equivalent would be like somebody like tweeting that they're gonna do a video on something, and then somebody like you're like, oh, okay, let me undercut you with a shittier video.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a good term for it.
I think we might have. I think we might have a visitor coming in here. It's gonna take a second to figure this out.
Is it our boy or is it some invader?
Somebody beat him to it.
Is your Zoom getting hacked? All right. Oh, there he is.
Oh, I think.
Hi there. Sorry, I had to get clothes on.
Hold on.
No.
We have two visitors now. It's a party. I hope visitor number one here realizes his camera isn't quite on yet. Hold on.
Yeah.
You can me? You can't see my. You can't see. You can't see my,
here we go.
Here
we go. We have Zach, aka Voultar. It's on right now. Yep.
Guys, how's everyone doing?
What's up?
Everyone's YouTube quote unquote career is over now. This stream is officially going to ruin the dignity of retro RGB.
I just want to let you know. I just got off the phone with Kevin Spacey, and he told me to send you his love. He's
an excellent actor. Also, Ian, you look like powder.
Oh, I think it's probably the window in front of me. One sec here.
I'm getting Ian on here too. Just taking me a minute. These NDI things take a second.
Yeah, there you go. Now you look like.
Go around.
Almost.
I was at the desert last night till 2:30 in the morning. Working with firefighters, so I'm like freaking
tired. Zach, have you met Ian before?
I don't know who Ian is. Ian, how are you, sir?
How's it going?
It's a pleasure.
Hey, Zach.
It's a pleasure, sir.
You'll always have big trouble in Little China.
It's Voultar, right?
Voultar.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I follow you on Twitter. I love your morning stuff. It's great.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. There's always.
Is there echo in here?
Yeah, there is. I got it. Hold on. I'm sorry. There's so many of these damn buttons all at the same time.
What are you guys talking about today? What's on the agenda?
Just whatever.
Okay, so Bob, I got your package real quick, and I want to tell you what you want to do with that one thing. You can go forwards, but you can't go. You can go to the right, Bob, but you can't go to the left. The only way this thing goes to the left is that it has a frame buffer. It's got to store a frame in order to go back because you can't make the sync pulses go out any faster. So this might be a total bust for you. That's all I'm going to say.
It might actually have a frame buffer built in?
Well, not necessarily a frame buffer, but something with combinational logic that lets you store about a frame. Because in order, Bob, you can delay. It's like a sync stripper. You can delay the picture. So therefore you can shift the picture right several pixels. But think about it. If you're trying to adjust your picture to the left, Bob, the sync pulses are only coming out as fast as they're coming out. You can't make them come out any faster. So what's happening is you have to store a frame and manipulate a frame to be able to move the picture over to the left.
Gotcha. So we just bored everybody in the stream with that, but all I will say is I'll give
That's all I wanted
the general overview is there's something that exists that as soon as I saw it, I went, it could be so much better. And if Zach was a real man with actual skill, he might be able to step up and do something with it.
Don't make me put don't make me take the file to your penis again, Bob.
Ooh, that's why. Is that what that white dust is from?
Hashtag there goes the moles.
Oh God. All right. I'm sorry, guys. What, you guys just hanging out, just talking about anything?
Just hanging out, talking about whatever. It's funny that you joined the moment after we said your name. It's like there's the Voultar alarm, and you popped right up.
He's got Google alerts for like streams, I guess.
Yeah, I work for the
and Voultar. I've actually never met you either, so my name's Yahel, but I do enjoy following you on Twitter. Mostly watching you shit on people, but give them the business. I love watching people be unable to detect your sarcasm. That might be the best part of it.
Well, God bless you and God bless America. Thanks so much.
That part does make me smile, and if I was a better person, it wouldn't. But one of my favorite things is when Zach makes fun of me and people think that it's serious and there's a feud, and it shouldn't make me as happy as it does, but it just absolutely it puts tears in my eyes laughing so hard sometimes.
I like to think there's like a subsect of like a couple dozen people that are just ready to take sides in case you guys do have a feud. You know, they're ready. They have their Team Bob, Team Voultar shirts.
It's like Infinity War, only cooler.
Canadian from Stadium Arts, Bob.
Yeah, Stadium Arts. Thank you so much for throwing beer money. Really appreciate it. I'll be drinking these Bronx breweries probably for the rest of the stream. But if I can't dig up something else, I'm out of absinthe. Because can't get down to the store that sells it, so I can't get too crazy today.
That's okay. We don't want you too crazy, Bob. We want you just the way you are. You're beautiful, baby. Oh. Also, Genovi has a question for Zach. Other than the CDI, what's the most poorly designed console hardware-wise?
The PC Engine Duo.
Yeah.
Oh, the original Duo? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely the PC Engine Duo, and maybe the Model 1 Sega Saturn.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Don't say that around Ian. He's gonna ride that.
I'm sorry, Ian.
No, he hates the Saturn. So
I love the Saturn. You know what it is? You know what it is? And it's not even really a matter of them being poorly designed. It's really a matter of the BOM, or the bill of materials, being very, very poorly selected. In the early to mid 1990s, capacitors were just, especially surface mount capacitors, were terribly, terribly unreliable. And unfortunately, a lot of our video game consoles of that era, the PC Engine Duo, especially the Model 1 Sega Saturn, Model 1 Sega CD, it's not so much the design that's bad, it's just that these terrible capacitors can fucking kill a system. And
sorry, I didn't catch that last part. What can they do?
I can't do it again. But it's just
Kevin.
I shouldn't have said poorly designed systems. I'm thinking of other things. It's not so much the system's fault. It's just, these Japanese manufacturers. What the fuck are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I've always thought that the some of the stuff in the original Master System, like even though I am not a developer, like I look at some of the ways some of those things are routed, and I'm like, how could that not cause interference? Isn't that like
That's a good point, Bob. I'm glad you said that, Bob, because you're actually 100% right. The Model 1 Sega Master System, it's a phenolic PCB. The vias on there are silk screens. They're not even plated. If you even look at it wrong, it's going to delaminate and it's just going to disintegrate. It's a piece of shit. It's a piece of shit. Can we cuss on this,
of course.
Bob?
Say whatever you want.
Fuck. Okay, it's a piece of crap and it doesn't work
Hey,
hardly.
I'll tell you what. Why don't I send you a Japanese Master System for you to see if you could reverse it? Oh wait, I already did that 4 years ago, and you still have it.
Bob, that was 5 years ago, you cocksucker.
It was.
So, not to get off topic, but I remember like when we talked about bringing Ian, Historic Nerd, in, we were talking about how he edits in After Effects, but not in Premiere because he's a monster. Right? Did I get that right?
Well,
Is that what you do?
Well, basically, yeah. So I do the vast majority of my stuff. I break it into 1 minute increments, and then I animate in After Effects around 1 minute, and then I use Premiere to tie it together. But all the work's being done in After Effects, essentially.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, so that's how I like to do it.
Zach, you said you recently switched over to DaVinci Resolve, right?
Yes, that's right. I did. I divorced myself from Adobe, mainly because I'm tired of the subscription pricing model where I'm held hostage and I have to pay exuberant amounts of money. I would just like to buy the goddamn license and be done with it, and then pay for updates if I want the updates. But I did. I migrated to. I've only used it once. I've not made a video in about 6 years, but DaVinci Resolve is fantastic. It has a lot of Adobe equivalents integrated into it too, so you can do a whole lot with Resolve, and it's free. It's free. I wish I could do After Effects. I don't know anything about After Effects. I've always wanted to learn, but it seems it's too advanced for me. I'm serious.
Well,
it's complicated.
You know how to use Photoshop?
Dude, let me tell you something. 2001, I was the motherfucker in the AV room, and I had the lightsabers. And I was rotoscoping myself with lightsabers, battling people.
Oh, were you that little fat kid from Canada?
I had fan film.
Oh, Star Wars kid.
Here's something fun.
He's lost a lot of weight. You know, remember this guy? You won't believe what he looks like now. What he's doing. Somehow it's even nerdier.
If you go theforce.net/fan films, if you're enterprising enough, you might just find me on camera in a few Star Wars fan film features. Ooh! Ooh! Ooh!
That's Star Horrors or Star Wars?
So you're familiar with Photoshop?
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Yeah.
Long story short, yes.
Yeah, sort of.
So I hear.
Ian, did you have more about that? Or?
No. I was. Sorry. All I was going at. Sorry, I'm kind of groggy. But basically, if you know how to use Photoshop, you know how to use After Effects for the most part, because it's all like a layer-based type video system. So it can kind of, if you understand that concept, it can kind of correlate easier over. But yeah.
I disagree.
Can I ask you a quick question about that? Because I've always been curious what the difference is. Because I've taken video clips and I've imported them into Photoshop, and you have a nice, you've got a nice timeline, and you can edit each frame and put whatever sort of layering effects that you want to, and sort of do that. What's the difference between importing something in Photoshop and applying your effects on each of the frames in your little timeline, and then just using After Effects? I guess I don't understand really what After Effects affords you.
Well, After Effects can basically do the same thing, except you can. I don't know. I haven't played too much of the video editing aspects of Photoshop. Mostly just that, like, when you're doing After Effects, it's very much like a picture layer type thing. Mm-hmm. So you can go into that individual video, and then you can do a bunch of stuff to that particular segment, and then you can correlate that back to your overall sequence, and you have all that work you did on that within that overall project, and you can keep doing it to more items within that. Within that timeline, so it can go deeper.
And you can link like your After Effects sequences to Adobe Premiere, to a project you're working on in there. So the editing is a little bit more seamless. You can do something. You can have both up at the same time. Do something in After Effects, and it'll update in Premiere in real time. So there's that, which I'm sure you can't do with. Pretty sure you can't do with Photoshop. There's some plugins that are like After Effects exclusive too, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Shit to get more money out of you.
Yeah.
The only thing that kills me about After Effects is it's very, very unoptimized, so it just starts eating system resources almost immediately.
Said about anything in the Creative Cloud.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I find Premiere isn't nearly as bad as After Effects, though.
Do any of you young beasts edit in 4K?
I have been, and I regret it.
I was wondering, when you do 4K, it's not even 4K 60, but, even 4K 30, that has to be incredibly resource intensive, because I thought, maybe I should make the jump from 1080, 60 to 4K, but I'm like, oh, Jesus, that would probably require me to get all new hardware. That's probably going to be a lot more taxing and demanding. I don't know if I can edit
do
that.
It because your PC power would need to double. So right now, I can't even take a camera with my a video shot with my GH5. If I import that into Premiere on my desktop and I start playing the file, 3 seconds later it freezes. I need my laptop, which is a little bit newer, and it's still not even perfect on that. So there's no reason to upgrade to 4K unless you're trying to... For me, it was just, I mean, in all honesty, just keeping up with the Joneses, right? If I try to make a video that's going to be as respected as My Life in Gaming or Digital Foundry, which they're not, but that's my goal, then I gotta step up to the plate and try to follow their lead.
Another thing too with I'm sorry, Genovi just wrote that in Photoshop you're limited to 1 video clip per project.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Don't act like you knew that, Bob.
No, because I do time lapse on Photoshop all the time, and you
yes.
can't do anything through that. You have to export the whole video as a time lapse, and then put that in Premiere to do the rest.
That's so complicated.
But with 4K editing, I mean, I guess you can like edit with like a 1080p proxy or something. I don't know. I've never edited in 4K, but I know like a lot of people will edit with like a lower resolution video as their proxy and then render it out into 4K. I don't know how that works.
Upscale it, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
that's probably the wrong phrase, but yeah.
YouTube is going to destroy the video anyways, so I'm just like, it's an 1080p.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole reason. That was one of the huge main big perks of me even entertaining the idea of 4K, because it wasn't even to really broadcast or output it to 4K on YouTube, but it was just a simple fact of the matter. I do a lot of super fine, close, super tight shot, almost like microscopic level stuff. And the idea was, well, geez, if you do it in 4K, you can keep the camera up much higher. And when you need to zoom in on something, you can just, if you're downsampling, you're outputting to 1080p, all those extra pixels are going to go somewhere, and you can really zoom in super tight and still have the depth, the bit depth, so that you don't get grainy. It still looks good. That was my whole thought.
So that's actually a great point.
That is exactly right, and there is a trick around this. If you want to, all you would really need is just invest in like one big hard drive. But Adam taught me this the other day. The real Adam, that whole proxy editing thing. That works, except you're now using low-res files to edit, so it's really hard to see something. So for somebody like Zach, who has to check, hey, is this shot in focus? I'm zooming in on these tiny little pins. It's not going to work. So the suggestion was pre-render everything to like I'll post the video, but pre-render it to whatever the final format's going to be. So when you're editing, the timeline window doesn't have to render in real time. It's already been rendered, and that way you could see everything in its perfect clarity. But now you're going to have like 500 gigabytes of cache, but whatever, just throw that on a USB drive, and then you're good. Delete it when you're done, no waste. So that was the only trick I found that I haven't had time to use yet, but I'm going to do that for my next video just to make it easier.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick to 1080. I just can't imagine rendering like 3D stuff in 4K, how long that would take. So
bored.
5 to 6 hours.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were rendering like 4 seconds of footage the other day, and it was like an hour a second or something.
It was ridiculous.
Question from Aaron Walsh in the chat, and a super chat, $5. Got 5
Aaron,
on it. Can we all agree that
use...
people who use cheap upscalers and play CDI should not be allowed on YouTube and keep?
Well, I know you're talking about me because I use a RetroTink 2.
I was just going to say, Aaron, I much
now.
appreciate the super chat. However, that's only half correct. Yahel is not some dirty SCART to HDMI user. He uses the real upscaler.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys something right now.
Beautiful box with you, Bob.
I have that one.
I saw you use it on one of your last videos. So
Yeah, I got it.
I was like, oh, I'm glad that box is getting some use before it gets shot with a sniper rifle or blowed up.
Funny that you guys mentioned that one. The video that's coming out this week is just lag testing retro scalers, and I put a time sleuth through all of those, so you don't just see with the slow motion camera. You could actually see up to the microsecond, and you would be shocked at how bad some of those are. I can't wait to see. I don't even want to say the numbers, but I cannot wait to see my fellow nerd friends like Zach over there's reaction when you see what some of these scalers end up actually clocking in at all the way down to the millisecond level. All these trolls that are like, it's just elitists who don't care. Yeah, I tested that one too.
I'm gonna say this. Bob, I don't know what the hell you just said right now, but I know one thing. Just play the fucking game.
Yes.
Hey, let me tell you guys something. First of all, quality can't be measured. Secondly, and I got a whole fun story about it. I've been jousting with Terra Onion this morning, but let me tell you something. This is the GBS 8220. Now, I talked to Bob about this 6 months ago or so. It's been a long time ago. Guys, this is like $17. $17. If you run the firmware that's been developed by Rama over on Shmups, this thing is a goddamned monster. It is awesome. Awesome. I would recommend this, honestly, in some situations, over even the OSSC. It is phenomenally good.
Yeah, that's next week's video, or that's 2 weeks video. Next week's video is lag. 2 weeks video is going to be on this. And this thing out of the box is meh, whatever. I mean, it's $20, so it's fine. But Zach's right. You have to solder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires. Not too bad. A beginner could probably do it. You have to program that, which if you've never used Arduino, it's a pain in the ass. If you have, it's easy. And this thing, 4 milliseconds of lag. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. So
and it's de-interlacing. It's de-interlacing abilities. Like if you're a PlayStation 2 lover like me, oh Jesus Christ, all those beautiful PlayStation 2 RPGs. But you know, if you have an OSSC, no offense, the OSSC's de-interlacing is not very good. This is better than the FrameMeister, and the FrameMeister is known wildly for its phenomenal interlacing abilities or de-interlacing capabilities. It's so good. And transitions, like if you're going from an interlaced field to like a progressive field, like in Chrono Cross, when you go from like the menu system to the actual game.
There's a big lag at the FrameMeister.
Huge lag.
Yeah.
The transition is so fast. Like
it's not playable,
and
in a lot of games.
What I just learned,
menus,
the FrameMeister, 2 frames of lag in 480i mode, just over 1 frame of lag in 240p mode. This thing with the custom firmware, I gotta keep saying that, not out of the box, with the custom firmware, variable between 0 and 1 frame in the adaptive 480i mode.
Interlacing mode, yeah, it's great.
And here's another thing, a sneak peek, if you will. Downscaling from 480p to 240p in 8 milliseconds, which makes this the fastest downscaler on the planet. So if you want to watch or if you want to play like any brand new console on an RGB monitor, so it has the retro look, this is now the thing to use. Crazy, right?
So just to talk about just for a second, you pair this as 17 to 20 bucks.
In the chat.
17 or 20 bucks. You do a couple of quick mods that'll cost you maybe an extra 10 bucks. So we'll say you got $30 in that, and then you'll have $50 in this scaler that handles even all the OSSC modes. You know, that's $80, and you've got a fantastic 80 bucks and a little tinkering. You've got not only an excellent upscaling setup, you've got a pretty decent capturing setup too, if you're just wanting to stream your games and have good quality.
Did you see?
Sorry, I don't mean to keep talking about it.
Did you see this? The capture card that Ps5 just did a video on, $18 and could do up to 720p 60 pretty much perfectly.
No,
you could do 1080p 30,
wow.
Or you could just cut the frame rate. But yeah, that's another one that's coming out too. So
very nice.
We have Artemio here. What's up, man? So glad for you to join.
Hello, Lord Artemio. God bless you, and God
bless
you.
One of the nicest guys,
family.
I'll say too, that I've always embarrassed myself. I've only I've been around Artemio twice. Once on that beautiful My Life in Gaming stream where I met Bob and Voultar for the first time.
Yeah, old school.
Seems like it's like yesterday, but it was like 3 years ago now or something like that. But then also at the that thing in Ohio. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about that, Bob, but the sex party we had.
Jimmy,
that giant orgy we had where we're like,
Jimmy, I got a question.
Kink 2XXX party that we had. No, Artemio was so nice. I was such a drunk asshole, but he was like so nice. So,
Jimmy, did we first
plus, genius and a gentleman?
Did we first meet on the Let's Save the Kids My Life in Gaming retro stream?
Yeah,
where we ruined the integrity of My Life in Gaming.
The Mark Duddleson Make-A-Wish project. Yes, we met on that stream.
And I kept donating money, saying like, "This is Kevin Spacey. I want your body."
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, they're reading out loud.
That's also known as the night that 3 of the people in this Skype chat were banned for life from My Life in Gaming live events.
Yeah, that's amazing. Hey Jimmy, I don't think Zach's heard yet. Could you tell Mark Duddleson's opinion on the FrameMeister?
Oh, this is also some. I got a little bit of this from good old Ian here, but yep. Well, that's right. If you don't have a frame master, you're a dirty peasant, and you don't belong in the same room as me, much less breathe the same air. I can't do it.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Yeah. Now, as I went outside, I didn't wear a mask because I ain't gonna wear a mask. But somebody told me how do you get the best picture from your entire electronics? I don't know.
For the record, for anybody listening, we're all
your
friends
fucking
with
glasses,
Mark, which
Grandma.
is why we're shitting on him.
I don't know.
Yeah, we love
it's
Mark.
really
We love
about
Mark.
a bunch of fucking peasants. You will die a peasant's death. Mark's. I'm sorry. If I was drinking less, I'd probably do it better.
Sorry, Mark. We tease you because we love you.
Probably do Steve.
Yeah, we love Mark. He's a gentle soul.
He's talking to Susan right now on the phone. He's like, get this motherfucker's YouTube channel blacklisted.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how he actually really speaks. Like, yo, these motherfuckers talking shit about me.
Right.
It's like really talks.
Damn, he's like really like got a deep voice. He's a gangster.
It's like Michael Jackson. You know, if you ever hear any sort of private videos with Michael Jackson when he's not on stage or he's not like, you know, he's like, I want those motherfucking kids that never land tomorrow. You know, it's like if you listen to him, he's really deep like this. He's like, get those motherfucking children over here immediately.
He's trying to give children the childhood he never got.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what his dad did or didn't do to him, but you know, whatever, Jimmy.
Chemical castration.
God, Jesus Christ.
Bob, do you want to end the stream?
No,
now?
I stopped talking. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say now.
See where
I
it
shouldn't
goes.
have come. I shouldn't have come.
You should
Literally.
hire Wade
That's what
Robson to choreograph this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
If you don't have a
Yeah,
frame
Hall was the only
master,
one that
I
saw the
think you should be
documentary,
chemically
apparently.
castrated. Yeah. Oh man.
All right. Well, I need to re-up on beers. I'm gonna grab a couple. So try not to talk about chemical castration while I'm gone.
Yeah, we'll do our best.
Here's
but
here's my beer.
oh, that's a very nice.
Very nice. It's also Ichigo, and it's a Pilsner.
Yeah.
So
Ian's doing a lot of Cinema 4D stuff for his next video, a lot of 3D stuff. He always uses 3D stuff, but I think you're kind of like from the few clips you've shown me, you're really going for it.
Yeah, going off the deep end this round. I was rather frustrated because I wasted like 3 nights this week just trying to render the same 45-second sequence because it kept failing in media encoder. And so I was literally losing my mind.
Yeah, I can't believe you're doing it in 4K. That's
I just wanted to learn it or figure it out in terms of like how it works with the systems. But I don't know. Also, my tinfoil hat theory I told you about, but I'll keep that one off.
I don't know, man. Like once I realized I could just export that shit in Cinema 4D and 720 and then upscale it to 1080 and it looked pretty much the same. I was like, my life is made.
On YouTube, no one will notice on that encoder.
Do you guys think that the viewer, other than not the creator but the actual viewer, really cares about it being 1080p or even 4K? Do you think that goes through their head? Like, I'm going to not watch this video. I don't want to watch it because it's only in 1080. I mean, seriously.
I will tell you something, Zach. I got a comment once which says, cool video. Once you decide to start doing things in 60p, though, I'll consider subscribing. And I was like,
shoot.
And I was like, oh, well, thanks for enjoying the video, but I'm not going to be doing 60 frames per second for a while because I don't have that kind of capacity. I didn't tell him what I was using, Sony Movie Studio Platinum 12, but and also my computer's a piece of shit now. But he was like, you know what? I'll subscribe. And I was like, I don't care either way. But cool. But I think some people are very snobby about it. Like they'll see like, what, no 1080p? Or now it's gonna be like no 4K. How am I gonna utilize my PlayStation?
But I think that's like a very small, portion of like the viewer base. I've never run into anybody that's like, oh, it's not a 4K.
Most people are watching on their phone anyway, so it's like you're not gonna be able to take advantage of it.
8-Bit Guy was doing 720p till
but 8-Bit Guy also puts PCBs in a dishwasher, so I don't think he should count for anything.
Right. I'm just saying he's a large channel.
There you go.
So like people something. Like.
I love his content. I think he's really good.
Shut up, Zach.
I mean, I don't agree with some of the stuff, the way he technically handles things, but I think he's pretty good. But the thing is, like, I can see where 60 frames per second, for me, for example, like I feel like the stuff that I do, That's all that fine motor work. If I did that in 30 frames per second, I feel like you would lose. You would lose something, and it just to see that kind of work as opposed to just somebody talking. 60 frames per second really matters when you're doing physical things like that. But like with I guess what you guys do, where you're just talking and you're presenting things other than video game footage. Now that's something that always bothered the hell out of me, even with people like the Angry Video Game Nerd. Like, it's fine if your shots like this are in 30 frames per second, but if you're going to go to all that trouble of capturing the video game footage, don't process that in 30 frames per second because it's just not going to look right to me, in my opinion. In my opinion. Do you guys disagree? It's okay.
No, that's exactly why the weekly roundups are in 60 frames per second. You don't need to see my dumb face in a still picture in 60, but every time I show game footage, I don't want people seeing it and going, well, that's stuttery. Is that how the game looks? Like, no, it doesn't. So, yeah, I agree 100%. Also, anybody that would take the time to comment something like that's not your friend just busting chops is somebody you should just mute their account anyway. Well, I would consider subscribing, as if subscribing will make you $1 million. I'll consider subscribing to you if you wear black headphones instead of white. Like, no, mute, goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, I think people are. You gotta appeal to people. You want people to watch your stuff and enjoy it. That's part of a big thing. For me, I fucking got no audience, so I just enjoy things. But when people are happy and everything, but yeah, the ones that come across real entitled, it's kind of like, this is fucking YouTube. It's a YouTube video, dude.
So there's some drama going on with Crix and Terra Onion?
Oh,
Jesus. Said he gave a $2 donation.
Yeah, did you not see my posts?
I have not even been on Twitter.
I think Stadium Arts had seen your post and brought it up.
I mean,
I have no idea.
I can talk about it very briefly. I don't want this to monopolize your podcast.
Dude, this is what we're here for. Talk about whatever you feel like, have some fun, and just, you're responsible for your own words. So if we get lynched again for something we say, this one's your fault now.
Okay. Hey, Bob, it's never my fault. I told you that. But what happened was I was reading on the Twitter earlier today, and you'll have to if everyone just goes to my Twitter, you'll actually see I even did a video response to Alex of Terra Onia because I was just kind of a little miffed about something. But if you look at my tweets, just go to my Twitter and look at my past 2 or 3 tweets and you'll see what's happened. But basically, we have this person that's been in the community for a long time. That's Akari. Akari has helped flesh things out, such as the SD to SNES. We have the SD to SNES that now has the CX2 or CX4 support, so the Mega Man X2 and X3 games work on the SD to SNES. We have Super FX compatibility, so now Super FX games now work on the SD to SNES. He's done all these great things, and people have contributed, and they've done great things. So, Alex of Terra Onion, from what I was able to surmise, initially propositioned or was needling Akari for the source files for the SD to SNES because they want to make their own $5-6 million version of it. Now, that's just anecdotal. I'm not saying it's going to cost that much, but that's generally what a Terra Onion product costs, a couple of $1 million. So they wanted to do that. Well, it got into that metamorphosized into, hey, can we have the source files, or would you be willing to share them? It's under a GPL v3 license. Would you be able to relinquish those to, well, we're making our own SNES cart, and I hope that you fix all the problems with yours before ours comes out. I'm paraphrasing. The language wasn't exactly to that effect, but it seemed to be consistently what the meaning was supposed to be. To after that, well, we would love for you to work at Terra Onion. We'd love for you to come work for us. You have a job here if you want it. It was so patronizing, and it was just really shitty to go from, give us your source files, we're making one anyways, we're going to threaten you by saying it's going to be better, I hope you fix your crappy one, to come work for us. We have a job here for you. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so I responded with a video. First, I responded to Akari, and I said, don't ever go there. Stay the fuck where you are. Stay the fuck where you are. Jesus, Lord Christ in heaven. Stay where you are. Don't do anything. And then so the one of the owners of Terra Onia, Alex, responded to me saying, I expected more from you. And that's when I responded to Alex, because I worked with Terra Onion. I fixed a lot of their problems with the the SSDS3, which is the expansion module for the PC Engine. A lot of problems we won't get into. I helped them. I gave them a lot of free engineering. It was fine. They were supposed to give me something. They didn't want to give it to me. After they agreed to give it to me, called me a liar and said I was a thief and I wanted something for nothing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I basically laid all that out in my Twitter video response because Akari's a good guy. He's a very decent person. And yeah, I'm going to tell him not to get involved or enthralled with people who are just, in my opinion, are very shitty in some regards. Alex might be a nice guy. All the interactions that I've had with him, he's a miserable human being.
The only thing I'm going to add to that, I don't really want to get involved other than I had a chance to talk to Alex last year, and I mean this respectfully, especially when it comes to the first thing I'm going to say, because I never want this to be a problem, but there is a language barrier, and he doesn't think there's a language barrier. So I don't mean that as an insult. I hate that we still have to deal with language barriers these days, but sometimes he thinks you're saying something different, and sometimes he thinks he's saying something different. So there's always that. Always keep that in mind when dealing with him. And he also, I mean, he's one of the NeoGeo.com type of people. Like, he thinks in normal life it's okay to go up to a complete stranger and be a dick first and then talk later. Whereas, like, you know, if fucking Jimmy and I walked into a bar together and Jimmy was like, hey, you fat fuck, like, we'd be laughing because we know each other and we're joking. Whereas, you know, you don't do that to a stranger.
I do it to strangers, though. I go into bars, I see the hottest chick, I'm like, hey, you fat fuck, PH fat. Want to go home with me and play Sega Saturn? I got a V Saturn.
But then she's like, no, I like transparencies.
I like transparency. Ooh.
You almost had me. If you said CDI, I would have been
out
the door.
Yeah. That would have been funny. But yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's really dithers my balls.
This is the earliest I've ever made a vodka cranberry.
Oh. No. That's very, very... Not, That's not what a CDI fan would like. I think
remember last night when we were on Twitter DMing each other? I'm like, oh, I'm not going to drink tomorrow. It's too early. Yeah. And now I'm like making vodka cranberries.
Yeah. So you're also a person like me. Should not be trusted. Should not be involved with. Just a liar. Goes back. Flip-flops. I will say, I don't know. You guys have some serious drama. For me, my drama includes me and Yahel fighting each other about the CDI and me and Ian over here talking about the Sega Saturn. And then I see some people having drama about, like, well, she showed her titties once. Like, oh, okay. And also, nobody watches my terrible fucking YouTube videos.
I've asked you.
Drama.
I've asked you not to talk about my grandmother anymore.
Dude, it's like 2 socks with tennis balls hanging down. It's amazing.
Don't talk about my
you son of a bitch, you cocksucker.
But
I've got your Sega Saturn right here, you piece of shit. Fuck you.
Because you've got like over 100 viewers, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Fuck you!
This is the Voultar meltdown segment of the stream.
I'm really enjoying the fact he's throwing Saturns around. That really makes me happy.
In all honesty, though.
But just so everybody in the chat knows, when Jimmy got to play the CDI at PRG 2 years ago,
I gotta use the
he was fucking enthralled, captivated. He said, where are you going, Jimmy? He said, this isn't that bad. And then after a little bit, he turns to me, he goes, I think I'm having fun. No, he may have been drunk, but
and high.
I remember we were playing Mutant Rampage Body Slam. He's like, this is pretty good. This is like a real game.
It's almost like a real game.
That's what they should put on the CDI box. Like, this is like a real game.
Zach and I were just talking about this the other day. Like, every human beings need some kind of drama in their life, right? And some of these people that are out there just love to live in it and make it up and do some crazy stuff. And we all kind of have to, but my favorite drama is when my friends shit on me. It's just, I don't know why, it's just so fun. And we go back and forth and it's not serious. No one ever means it. And if you do, you mean it out of love. And it just, that's the type of drama that cracks me up.
Well,
I think Jimmy just does it because he has low self-esteem, but
he had more Mubos than Nubos. Did I get what? It's Nubo, right? God damn it! I didn't even make the joke right.
I think you were right the first time.
I think you're right on the edge of saying a slur, Bob. You need to stop drinking. Just quit. You need to cut it out. Oh, there's a fire in my pants. Anyway, so There we have it. This is a lot of fun. This is fun, Bob. I like your guitars in the background. You're a Renaissance fan.
Go. That's what you'd call that.
Are you almost as good as me yet?
I guarantee I would destroy you at guitar.
I really don't think so. I've seen you play, Bob. It's like watching Esteban on a midnight home network channel.
Oh my god, Esteban. That's
is
the name
a
I haven't
great
heard in a long
reference.
time. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's the guy with the nails, right?
The black
nails?
hat.
Always trying
Yes.
to shill those $90 guitars.
This is the finest guitar.
Esteban! My parents bought my sister Esteban. Oh my god.
Did
I've not
they?
thought about him in a long time. Yeah, she never learned how to play guitar.
Well,
He never learned how to cut his nails, so.
yeah, exactly. No, you know what? I actually read I read a whole interview about Esteban, like a whole thing. They're acrylic. They're not even he actually puts acrylic nails on, like to strum.
We call those in the biz cocaine shovels.
Yes, exactly. Precisely. Carrie Fisher sported one all through Empire, and then she denied it.
Yeah, he sells his cocaine shovels on QVC After Dark. Yeah.
So.
That when we were selling all the CDIs
So
that they couldn't
Dario
sell.
just posted, Zach. I think we have a guitar showdown challenge. I think once lockdown's over, I think I should drive out to Kentucky over there, bring my guitar, and we should have a guitar duel.
Yeah, absolutely, Bob. If you want to be, embarrassed to that degree,
Do you think your
just come to
ego
my
could
house.
handle being embarrassed
What is
on a
it?
live stream? Just destroyed.
Bob, I'm embarrassed every day of my life.
Just because you're friends with me,
Okay.
I know. I'm tired of hearing it. But when it comes to actual things like playing guitar, you're gonna get
It's pretty
shamed.
embarrassing.
I'll tell you something. Never mind. I won't tell you. Never mind. Well, it does. It has no relevance to what we're talking about, which we're really not talking about anything. But never mind. I'm sorry, guys. You guys are all really attractive men, by the way. I just wanted
Except
to tell you
Ian.
all.
You know,
that.
Ian's like 4'5".
Well, thank you. Wow.
He's a tiny, weird little man.
Oh yeah, apparently
Yeah.
I'm just a giant midget. Yeah,
Yeah, wait a sec.
just a giant midget who stands about a foot taller than all of you.
How tall are you?
Not
Ian?
me.
6'2".
Have you ever seen the
Okay,
ladder?
I'm 6 feet. Okay.
Ah.
You're not 6 feet
Okay.
tall.
There you go.
Yes, I am.
I
Yes,
can't wait to
I
meet
am.
you.
Well, the other problem is that Ian is also
This is-
6 feet wide.
This is also true.
That's true. Yeah.
Stadium Marks with
I'm a
another
true square.
$5 donation asking Voultar a question. So I'll
Go ahead.
I'll let-
Can you read it
I'll
out
let
loud?
the 6-footer. Yeah, sure. Do you have spare junk black Saturn II lid you'd sell?
Oh, I've got all kinds of those. I stole them from Bob after he sent me 30 of them to, fix. But I'm selling all of his parts. So yeah, email me at Bob's an alcoholic 32 at retro
I knew that was
RGB
coming.
sucks. Don't ever go there again. .gov.edu.
So, I don't even know how to say it's inboard 3 or line
don't do
3.
CDI.
Anyways, he said that he was going to get a CDI as his next purchase because he wants to play Wand of Gamelon and stream it.
We don't know each other. I'm borderline, but friends don't let friends do CDI. And
Listen,
I'm actually
don't
your
listen to
friend.
Jimmy.
I just don't know it yet.
Jimmy, I already exposed you for the CDI lover you are while you were gone, so no one believes
I
you.
couldn't listen to these lives because it would ruin our friendship, knowing that I'm friends with a
Whatever.
liar.
Anyways, don't get Wand of Gamelon. It's genuinely awful, but get Thunder in Paradise.
It's still
and
en
you'll be all
route.
set.
That's why we haven't done that stream yet. It's still coming from the Netherlands.
I'm really behind. I've not kept up since Halloween Havoc 2000. But at any rate, I didn't realize
Some pro wrestling.
that Linda Hogan was banned from the AEW, but Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan's been banned evidently but Khan banned him like a long time ago. I had no idea.
Well, they were
that,
never. It's like they were ever going to show up.
They're never gonna go there anyway.
Hey.
Yeah.
I
That's
know,
like I'm
but
saying.
That's like I'm banning, Nelson Mandela from my apartment. Like
But he
he's
died in the
banned.
80s. Yeah, I feel like he died in the 80s. He's,
Right,
in
like
prison.
he's dead. Like of course, like, he's never gonna show up.
I know, but I just thought that was kind of. I don't know where I've been in the past 5 years. I'm like, wow, what happened? And then I realized, Hulk Hogan said some racially charged things, I guess. And that's why he was banned. And his wife evidently said something on Twitter to the effect that just wasn't very polite.
I'll put
Yeah,
it this way. Booker T forgave him, and Booker T called him an interesting name once.
You remember? He's like,
that's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. It's still real to me, damn it.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. And then he does this, and he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, his reaction afterwards, like, oh, my career's over.
Jaguar error cards.
Hey, so I just curious, what did you guys think about the PS5 reveal?
I didn't watch it. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, like the look of the box.
I think it's really cool. I mean, I don't know why people are being a little hard on it. I think it to me, when I look at it, sort of in a cosmetic or aesthetic sense, it just seems to me like the natural, like, point of evolution. Like, this is where all this stuff is going to go. And a lot of people are being kind of hard on it for just even offering, not that it's your only choice, but offering like a digital only version. I care about physical media. I'm pretty goddamn sure everyone in this chat cares about physical media, but guess what? A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't want to have all that shit to lug around. A lot of people don't want all that physical room being occupied in their homes. I think it's fantastic if people want to buy
that anxiety.
You know, I use Steam. Yeah, you don't need that anxiety. So I think it's great.
I'm glad that it doesn't just look like a box, you know?
Yeah. It's got some nice lines.
It looks like a PS2 with a white binder around it.
I saw
Bob, get the fuck out of here. This is our podcast.
That's funny. You know what? This is going to be a stupid reference that probably no one's going to get, but it looked like it would be a video game console you'd find in the GameCube title Piano 3. That's immediately what I thought for some reason. It's like, oh, it's like a Piano 3. Just look at the aesthetic. It's very obscure reference, I guess, but I think it looks like shit. That's what I'm trying to say. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be one of those things that's going to have it's going to be out for a year or two, and then they're going to come out with the pro version, and there's going to be a radical design change? You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, but I don't know if there's going to be... Yeah, you know what? I think that is probably something that's going to happen. And I think that's probably a smart marketing thing, right? You break in with this that looks different and stands out, and then a couple of years from now you come down with the slim model and, you know, try to market that to people who haven't bought it yet.
Yeah.
Firebrand X is in the chat. I know he's a buddy of you guys, but
yeah,
he says that Zach seems out of lip sync. I think you're out of mind sync, Zach. And I mean that in a nice way.
See,
I know what you've been through. I've been through the same torture when we were aspiring young male actors in corrupt Hollywood. Back when I had like nice hair like you.
Oh, well, God bless you. You know, I got to tell you something, Jimmy. This is the first time I've actually ever physically seen your presence. Like, really? Yeah, I've never. I was
came over to Retrocreate.
Well, I know I was busy organizing my sock drawers, but I just wanted to say I don't ever recall seeing your face in any of your videos. Like, you don't get in frame in your videos, do you?
Fuck no. Why would I put people through that torture?
I think you look like a friendly, sexier version of Mr. Miyagi.
That's both a compliment
I was
and
actually
racist.
going for young. I was actually going for young Tojo. Ian's not here to back me up, or son of Mr. Fuji, son of Fuji.
You kind of remind me of a less menacing version of the bad guy in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, Tatsu. Thank you. That's what I was going for too.
Like, attack! Wait, turtles vanish.
Turtles vanish. Yep.
I think you're an attractive guy personally, but I mean, I wouldn't fuck you.
I may or may not have some photos of you on my computer. I'm just.
By the way, every time I do a video that has some kind of desktop capture, there's always a folder labeled Voultar Nudes. And the truth behind that is I take everything that's on my actual desktop and dump it in a folder so it's not busy looking while I'm doing a screen capture. But the first time I did it, I was like, the folder was named desktop. And I'm like, well, that's boring. So that's how I changed it to Voultar Nudes. And now I have to do it every time because there's always somebody that picks it out.
That's great.
That's why when I do really large features that I know are going to get several views, I always have a folder if I'm doing like a screen capture, and the folder has to be titled something like Bob's AA program or Bob's AA recovery, Bob's AA retro RGB AA schedule, and people always ask me, "How's AA going?" I'm like, "He's still here. I mean, he's living, he's breathing."
Oh. I love that you do that, and I also love that Renee took that a step further. And when I went to visit, I landed at the tiniest airport in the middle of nowhere. There's like 7 people there waiting for me to get off, and there's Renee with a big sign, "Welcome back from rehab." Everybody's staring at me. And apparently when he was waiting, a couple people came up like, "Are you sure your friend's going to be okay with that sign? Are you sure he'd want everybody to know that he was at rehab?" And he was like, "Once you see this fucking guy, you'd understand." Well, he probably said it in French, but same thing.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah. Poor guy.
Right.
Hope Renee's doing well. We've not heard from Renee in quite
He
a
is.
while.
I do
I
still
hope he's
talk
doing
to him.
okay.
He's busy with work. I think he had like his basement leaked or two.
Is that why you guys haven't done retro roundtable in
I
a
think I
while?
said busy
or-
with rehab for a second, and I was like,
Busy
it's
with
that
work,
time.
and his basement leaked, but he didn't start a GoFundMe for it.
Working on himself.
Neither did I, you fucking asshole. Is that your? Are you?
Just
Oh,
being
I know
a
who you're
silly
talking
asshole.
about. Oh, yeah, you're talking about some guy in Seattle. I know who you're talking about. I won't say any names. Metal Jesus Rock. So tell me, Bob. I got a question. Do you
What?
think? Sorry, I'm just being an asshole to Bob.
That was a hidden comment.
No, I'm just being rude. I'm just being a rude
I
bastard.
guess Bob is allowing you to ruin the integrity of our retro RGB. Except Bob is not retro RGB. He always makes that very clear. But you are ruining.
Somebody
the
made a
integrity
hate
of retro
video about me a couple months ago, and
That's in
I
here,
never
yeah.
watch them because they're just losers looking
Really?
for extra clicks. And I saw the
I
title
know
of
what
the
you're talking
video said Bob from Retro RGB, and I just went, okay. And I just clicked off. I didn't watch the video, didn't even read the rest of the title. I'm like, that's fair. Okay, whatever you have to say. Yeah.
Got nothing. Yeah, I got nothing.
Oh man, I would love to get somebody making hate videos about
One
me,
of them
but-
went into detail about how Zach
Dude, I will.
actually really hates me,
Secret.
and how it just shows how much of a terrible person I am if that's the type of friend I have. A friend of mine called me about it the other day, and they're like, "Do you want to know about this?" I was like, "Don't tell me, because not only do I not care, you're just wasting my time." They're like, "Well, this one involves Voultar," and I'm like, "Okay, do tell, do tell." Apparently, I guess it was an older video or something, but I'm like, man, that's awesome. That is really funny. Anybody that gets the joke is going to love this one.
So I'll explain that one briefly. They clipped. I was on a Twitch stream, and I think it might have been iCasho. iCasho is somebody that I think follows everybody here. He's our friend from down in Brazil, and he said, "Hey, he said something in the Twitch chat while I was streaming. I think it was him, something along the lines of, when will you be installing the Badass Consoles Retro RGB Signature Series GameCube adapters?" And I said, "Oh, do you mean the one that Bob endorsed for 4 years that never came out? And when people get mad at him, Bob blocks them and calls them stupid bastards and trolls? Tell him I'll be installing those in 2 days," or something like that. They thought I was serious, and so they took that clip and they tried to synthesize it into like a feud thing, which I think is great. I want a feud with Bob, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we've often talked about starting like a retro gaming drama channel that just makes shit up. You know how these like retro gaming community channels always have drama with each other or whatever, the commentary channels.
Dude,
so
a broken
do that,
clock
but
is right twice a day.
God,
have it all
dude,
be
you
made
start-
up.
you
Start
should
making up shit about people. You're gonna get a fucking real scoop.
I learned
like,
I learned something yesterday that was really unfortunate. I had a terrible experience, and I'm not going to talk about it really, but basically I learned that it's sometimes I'd rather not have like a fan base, and I would rather just have a customer base, because I've learned that if you have a fan base who eventually turns into your customer base, these people who are creepers and that are fans of yours, not everybody, but I'm just saying the people who like are super like creeping on you, when they become a customer of yours and you don't treat them exactly how they want to be treated, like you don't suck their dicks, they're going to say terrible things about you, and they're going to make up. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet yesterday about the bad customer that I had, but
I saw it because I
this
was
guy-
actually on Twitter for. So
this
I was like,
guy-
Jesus.
was trying to make up some of the most outlandish and fastical things, like me and this other modder, who I have nothing but respect for, have this absolute feud going on, and there's this power struggle and all of this, and it's just like, God, I don't think that would have happened to me had this guy just been like a customer wanting me to do something. And so it's kind of difficult.
There would be no betrayal, like personal betrayal.
Right, exactly. There would be no expectations of me like signing autographs for them and sucking their dicks and like. I mean, I'm not.
Say it ain't so, Voultar.
I'm not a big YouTube person at all. I do like a YouTube video I've not done a YouTube video in like 8 months. I only have like 30.
That's okay. You did one video that got like over 1 million, and you're like, fuck it. I think it's like a 2 million now.
3, but but I who fucking cares?
There you go.
I don't. But it's just like, do any of you ever run into that? Like, you guys all have pretty good channels, and all 4 of you. Do you ever run into people who, for whatever reason, I don't want to say, I'm not saying this like in a braggadocious way, but they become almost infatuated with you, or they like think that you're your best friend, or that they kind of get creepy and they get weird if you don't give them a lot of attention.
I think everybody with over 10 followers has had that, but I've had the opposite, which is a little awkward, where like somebody will say, hey, I see you're going to be at this expo, do you want to grab a beer? I'm like, yeah, of course, come down, we'll all be meeting at this. And then I invite them to the next place, and they show up to the next place, and they're like, I feel like I'm that creeper that's following you around. I'm like, dude, I invited you. It's fine. They're like, yeah, no, it's...
Hey, we agreed we weren't going to talk about that,
Little
Bob.
do they know, Bob is the guy.
Oh, there we go.
That's
yeah.
Right. Tell me, sir, tell me, YouTuber, does this smell like chloroform? Gotcha, bitch!
I mean, I've had a couple people like that, but for the most part, not. I mean, I've had some people like kind of like go off the rails in the comments section, specifically about me, like kind of like being upset because I didn't. They'll be like, "Oh, you didn't reply to my comment that I left a year ago on something." I'm like, "What?" So but I don't know. I've been pretty fortunate for the most part, but I know some people have gotten some real fucking weirdos, but I've been pretty lucky.
That's good. That's good.
A lot.
I just met this guy named Bob.
I keep Bob, a
you got a
folder
lot,
of them just in case things ever get a little too weird, but privately I'll share them. It's not comfortable at all.
Papa, I don't want to see pictures of your inflamed ball sack again, if that's what you're getting at. Please, share them privately somewhere else.
I think for you guys, it might be a little, Voultar and Bob, it might be a little more frequent for you guys because you're a lot of times talking about like, hey, this is what I think about this, piece of hardware. Like, it's like your well-informed opinion, right? Like you're coming from a place of like knowledge, but people like it, whereas we're just like, hey, this is something that we research, here's an event that happened kind of a thing. So we have like less of our opinion in our videos. So I think that's probably why you guys get like people who get more attached to you guys. So they're like, yeah, I agree with that point of view, or yeah, that's what I thought too. And then they kind of like spiral out of control.
The most fascinating thing to me is people that get deeply offended when they find out something they bought might not have been as good as they thought. As if I'm making fun of a personal friend of theirs when it's an inanimate object that they spent $20 on.
And they have to defend their purchase. Yeah. That's what it's all about. They spent their money on it, and they have to defend it to the death. I'm like,
it's like the old like nothing else going on in their lives.
It like reminds me of like when you're a kid and maybe you have a Sega, your friend has an NES or whatever, and you guys are like defending your systems, to the death for really no fucking reason.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
When we were 13, 14 years old, battling the console wars of Genesis and Super Nintendo, like that's kind of fun to do as a child. Like if you're still in that mindset and you're in your 30s, you might want to have a bit of a reevaluation with yourself.
Did you ever see there's this picture experiment these people did where you see this lamp slowly move from inside a house to the curb, and the last frame is, I bet you felt bad for this lamp, but remember it's a lamp and it's not alive.
No, but if you send me the link to that's how we'll respond to anybody that comments on stuff like this from now on. Don't be the lamp.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so I broke the seal, which means every 4 minutes I'm gonna have to run to the bathroom. So, fuck you, Voultar.
Let's get this motherfucker's channel taken down right.
Bob, why don't you grow a bladder like a real man?
He's obviously dealing with some medical things here. So Ian, you've been here. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you haven't had a real big chance to talk a lot. No, what are you working on, sir?
Doing a TurboGrafx history video.
Oh, because of the TurboGrafx Mini. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, well, I've been working on this stupid video for the last 5 months, but I don't know. That's been really interesting. Finding out about how just utterly incompetent NEC North America was. So that's a fascinating story diving into that. But then also like diving, but then looking into some of the people from TurboGrafx America that are still around, or NEC America, and then I'm like, I really don't want to talk to these people just based on their their behavior online. So I'm like, ugh.
You mean some of the? I don't know anything about that, but they're. Oh, look at that! That's very nice, Jimmy. You must be really fucking proud of yourself. Is there like a social presence?
I can wipe my ass.
There's one person in particular that was involved with TurboGrafx that's still online. But I don't know. He's a very, very, very eccentric person. Yeah. So I don't necessarily know
like
how.
Ian.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was your alternate account.
Yeah, it's totally mine. Yeah, but I don't want to name it anything. But it's just one of those things where like the guy has a very online presence, but I don't know how eccentric he is, and it seems like some of the things he shares about his past experiences with TurboGrafx are semi-inaccurate based on just associated timelines. So I'm like, I don't know. It's one of those like primary sources, but it's an unreliable primary source.
Would you say he is the Frank Dukes of the TurboGrafx 16?
Which one's Frank Dukes?
Frank Dukes.
You guys don't remember Frank Dukes?
The Bloodsport.
I
remember Frank.
Oh,
that fucking fraud. That goddamn fraud. Of course.
Yeah.
There's not a night before I go to sleep that I don't think about Frank Dukes because I have issues. Okay.
Yeah, let me Google this.
He does.
So, I'll tell you real quick. Frank Dukes was a guy who was he was a quote unquote martial artist, so he says, and he says that he took part in a secret.
That producer who bamboozled a ton of people in Hollywood, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now I remember. Okay.
I don't know the story. Keep telling the story, Zach.
So Frank Dukes was a martial artist, and he claimed in the early 1980s that he was a part of a top secret fighting tournament called the Kumite that would occur every 5 years, and it would allow all these different arts of martial arts, like the Korean arts, the Chinese arts, the Japanese arts, the Philippine, all that stuff. They could test their skills and find out what worked and what didn't work, and it was a death tournament. And so he spun this for so long. That people believed it. And there was a guy named Sheldon Littich that he used to hang out with. Sheldon Littich was a script writer, and he was also he was a friend of Jean-Claude Goddam's. And so he spun this idea to him, and they made this movie based on the real accounts of Frank Dukes called Bloodsport. And he also claimed that he was like some sort of secret operative. He wrote a book called The Secret Man, and that he stopped World War III, and that he has all these outlandish and outrageous fantastical claims, and they were all debunked. Like he said, he was a Medal of Honor recipient. He did this, he did that, and like they Freedom of Information Act is DD 214. It was all bullshit, and he was just a big liar and a con artist. It was really so that just
kind of like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, you need to fix Stage 1's fucking Neo 19
of a
arcade.
Crazy and unbelievable story. Stage 1
right?
Just dropped $500 for Voultar to fix his Neo 19 arcade, or I shouldn't say his. Do you know what a Neo 19 arcade is?
Did he think this was Voultar's stream?
Hey, Stage 1, you goddamn sons of bitches. You should have sent that money to me directly. Now I'm not going to get any of that. I'm not fixing anything for you. You just threw your $500 away. Go fuck yourself.
Zach, I'm going to do an MSX stream in like about 20 minutes from now. Stay on the call. I keep talking about Frank Dukes.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I just don't have the time for that. I've got to organize my panty
So what's a
drawer.
Neo 19? Is that the later model ones?
I think isn't that the official mini Neo Geo sort of bar top that they came out with in the 90s? Isn't that what they call the Neo? Am I wrong?
If there were only somebody here who just did an in-depth documentary on the Neo Geo.
I actually don't know what the Neo 19 is, what he's referring to. Let me.
I thought it was the mini MVS arcade system that they had in Pizza Hut. I had one in Pizza Hut next to Puzzle Bobble.
Stage 1, you want to explain what a Neo 19 is then? The only mini MVS I know is the one I just rebuilt.
The only thing that I know that's Neo 19 is my cock.
19 centimeters? That's being a little generous.
19 millimeters, you cock. You turd burglar.
That must be pretty big.
Like the mini arcade? Like almost like a 1-up size...
It's what they call a bar top. It's about 2 feet tall, and it sits on a bar top. It's a real arcade cab.
No, it stands up. It stands up though, right?
I think it looks like based on the Google search I did, it looks like a sit down sit-down cabinet from like a Japanese arcade.
Right, but it doesn't like lay flat. Like the screen isn't flat.
No. It's like a scaled down in Neo Geo penis pump.
Yeah, like a scaled down MVS.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you better fix it.
Maybe in 191. Oh, stay away from those Neo Geo multi-carts. They can be disastrous.
I heard though that if you buy them now, the ones that have been manufactured in the past year or so are less shitty because they've heard all the complaints from people, but they're still pretty bad.
Then I consider that a success story. You know, you complain enough, things are fixed. But I'm still the bad guy. I'm the bad boy.
People love to hate you.
I'm a bad boy. They do. They love to hate me, and that's fine. They love to hate you too. They love to hate anybody.
It is true.
You know.
Yeah, I need to invest in the Neo SD because these game prices.
Yeah, man, they're expensive. They are super expensive. Neo Geo is just one of those things. Neo Geo, in my opinion, is worse than. Well, no, I don't know today. It's like you've got PC Engine, Neo Geo. And I think a lot to MSX.
Neo Geo is way worse than any of those. The only really expensive MSX games I've ever really seen, like in the thousands, is probably the VHD of Time Gal. But as far as like Neo Geo, if you go into look at what Matcher Melee, like the Power Instinct series, some of the later King of Fighters, a lot of that shit, like a Sengoku 2001. I don't know what it's called in the States, but it's very close. Those are like several $1,000s in shitty condition. So those games are ridiculous. So Neo Geo, like AES, is just ridiculous, man. But yeah, MSX is pretty pricey. I've been embarrassed to spend a lot of money on things where I'm like, I played it, I'm like, oh, this is not worth like $100. Whatever, now I have it. Fuck me.
Well, you know, that's why you get a Philips CDI. Philips was kind enough to include 0 copy protection.
Hey, Bob said not
nice.
to mention chemical castration again.
Sure. If you can't handle the power, the unbridled power, you know, I hear that Philips CDI will actually make you more fertile over time.
Jimmy, that's exactly what you need. We talked about this.
Mm-hmm. Increases the potency of your
man juices.
Yes.
Of your man juices. You know, the thing about the MSX is the games can vary and they can certainly get pricey. It's just like the PC Engine, but really the MSX, it's the initial install price. Like to get even crappy MSX2s, I've noticed they're going for like $300 or $400. And if you want on eBay, I don't know what they're like over there in Japan, Jimmy. If you like going to a brick and mortar, but like if you want like an MSX2 Plus, oh my God, those things on eBay are like $400 or $500 now. Is that what it's like over there, Jimmy? Or are they like pretty cheap?
If you get one that's not been worked on, you can probably get like just the console itself at 200 something, maybe $300. I bought one a few years ago that was worked on. I sold it to Genovi for actually in total cheaper than that. So I lost money, but it's Genovi, so God bless.
So do they actually sell broken MSXs over there that you buy?
You can buy junk MSXs, but MSX ones are super cheap, right? Those are like ridiculously cheap. MSX2s, regular ones, are pretty cheap too. Like you can get like a standard unit for $100 maybe, 200. Okay. 2 Plus is a little bit more. I just got a Turbo R the other day that has been worked on, and it comes with the box and all the manuals and shit. I spent way more. I don't want to tell how much I spent for it.
600, $650. Don't lie to me.
Around that much, actually. But I thought I was getting Abe bucks. Like, Prime Minister Abe was supposed to give me some bucks, but I haven't gotten it yet.
Who the hell is that? Is he like a thespian? Who is that?
He kind of looks like a tanuki or a Furby. He's a very talented thespian. Much like yourself, Zach.
Okay, good.
He's been acting like he gives a shit about this country for like 8 years now.
Okay, have him call me.
What's the most you guys? I mean, you don't have to say how much you spent on it, but which console have you paid the most for, or maybe sunk the most money into?
As far as like software as well,
like altogether, software, hardware.
Dude, I can't even tell you.
I think I've actually put the most money into CDI just because I bought several controllers, the CDI itself, a lot of.
The hell's wrong?
Listen, Voultar, you have not lived. until you've experienced spending an entire year sinking hundreds of hours into the Philips CDI.
Here's the thing, though, Zach. If you start playing the CDI and now you know what it's like to live, you're gonna want to go back to die. You're gonna be like Cypher in the Matrix. Give me that fucking blue pill.
The CDI.
I want to eat steaks. I want to be an actor.
It's a cool breeze on a warm summer day. The perfect kiss, as I often describe the CDI.
I helped Bob with an RGB mod for the CDI remotely because I couldn't stand to even look at it, and that's about as close as I'd ever want to get.
You don't mean that, and
oh my God, Zach, I totally forgot about that. And I swear I'm telling you the truth. Do you know that a few months later, the work that we did on a live stream turned into somebody's open source board, which is awesome. That part's awesome. I love that. But that's also the same person that's stolen like 7 or 8 of your designs and reposted them as theirs.
Oh, of course.
No names in this one because I don't want to get down to that drama.
No.
But that's how funny is that? That's right.
Well, that's great. That's great.
The 10 of us in the CDI community, thank you for your contributions.
So, the 10 of us in the community, does that mean there's more people than there are games for the CDI? I'm serious.
There's legit like hundreds of games on the CDI.
No, seriously, I'm not joking. Is there really like a lot?
A lot more than I ever guessed.
Are they all like DVD interactive menus? Is that what it is? I'm serious. Is that
No. I mean, no. There's platformers. There's an FPS, like a Wolfenstein 3D style FPS.
There's FPS. There are FPSs.
But a lot of people don't even expect there to be
Wolfenstein. There's FPS.
I always look.
There's RPGs. There's RPGs. There's platformers. There's a lot of there's some games that were released on the PS1. Like Chaos Control.
That's the only way they get sold. I mean,
Myst, right? Seventh Guest. Those are on the CDI.
I love Seventh Guest.
He's busting out all the heavy hitters right now. Seventh Guest.
Well, why wouldn't I? What am I gonna?
Oh no! As in heavy hitters, these are like fucking pathetic, Yahel.
I always looked at the CDI as the American equivalent to the PC Engine, the PCFX. The PCFX was like the successor to the PC Engine, but it was mainly like interactive games and hentai porn games. Like, this CDI couldn't even be that cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't masturbate to it. Unless...
actually, you can, because there is pornography on the CDI.
Is there really?
Yes, sir. I do. So I was trying to, find this ROM one time.
Bob's shaking his head like...
No, we discussed this in another interview. I could definitely tell the story.
Cool.
So there was a game called Girls Club, which is kind of like that board game, that phone board dating
Dream phone.
Thank you. It was kind of like that, but FMV version of it. And I was looking for it because I'm like, oh, this is probably really awful. It'll be funny. And I thought I downloaded it, but instead it was some Vegas showgirl stripping game or something called Girls. There is indeed pornographic software on the CDI.
There's also Voyeur as well, which is that really creepy take photographs of people type game.
Yeah.
Night Trap XXX. Mm-hmm. Call me, Bob. No, now I'm just kidding. Oh.
But the CDI light gun, you can use the CDI light gun with a flat panel modern TV.
No kidding. Really?
Yeah. It's more like a Wiimote than anything.
I mean,
it's a lot like the Menacer in terms of having a giant.
It's a lot like the Wiimote, only it sucks.
It's a lot like the Wiimote, only it's a power glove.
You cut out at the very end.
Even more.
I think a power glove is a much more accurate representation of what it's like. You put the sensors up.
Dude, I'd take the activator over that CDI. I actually got to see that thing in action. I think Ian, when we were in Portland Retro Gaming Expo in 2018, you basically had sex with one of the vendors to get that thing for $60.
No, I only paid him $30 for the gun.
Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah, that's what the sex was
for. The other 30 was
then you brought it over the hotel. You were so excited. And then you were like, holy shit. Who would have known that a mouse would be more effective in a gunfight than a gun? It was pathetic.
Well, we were also using one of those garbage upscalers that Bob hates to work with the shitty TV in the hotel. So
I want to associate myself with that, man. We talked about this.
How many frames of lag did it have? Did you actually play the fucking game, or are you just...
Zach?
No one gets that. Does anyone get that?
Spoilers
I'm sorry,
for this upcoming video. Spoilers, but I have once again, for the 5th time on camera now, proved that This time with the time sleuth, so you get down to the millisecond, it is variable latency between 3 and 6 frames of lag. Which...
I don't doubt it.
Because it was designed for TV.
I don't doubt it.
Using what now?
Huh? Sorry, Jimmy.
I'm sorry, you got those 3 to 6 frames of lag using
Discard
what
the
now?
HDMI box? Because it's not meant for games.
You know the video that's titled "Getting the Best Possible Quality Out of Your Vintage Video Game Retro Video Game Consoles." It's that box, and I guarantee if you were to go straight SCART, it would never look as good as a PVM. I'm just quoting the man. That's a
The
direct
problem I
quote.
have is I've tried reaching out, I've tried speaking in person, I've tried being rude, I've tried being funny, and that one person won't listen. They just refuse.
I did
What's
too.
that video called again?
It's Adam Koralik.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about. You know what's going on. I tried. I was really nice to him too, and then he ignored me, and that kind of aggravated me. And then I was a little more bold about the matter, and then he just kind of blocked me and said I was stalking him. Like, dude, I've got a lot better things to do on my time. Wait, no, I don't have better things to do. You son of a bitch!
Yeah.
Quit telling people this.
So D Lang 6487, a man or woman of
it's Dave.
fine taste. The CDI mouse is wicked fun with Thunder in Paradise.
Yeah, Dave's the
Yeah.
one that's going to let me borrow both
Fact.
the mouse and the gun, so when we do the stream, whenever I get my Thunder in Paradise copy, I'd be able to use the official methods of how to play it.
I will say, like, since I got my SNES to CDI controller adapter, like, a lot of the platforming games and stuff, like, are a lot easier to control, because the game pads, even like that Gravis gamepad, that PC Gravis gamepad, like, that they made for the CDI, I mean, it's okay. And the 3-button Genesis style one they made, it's okay. But, you know, after, like, so many years, because of the build quality, they just don't work as well.
So what you're saying is, when you're using a controller that isn't a piece of shit and sucks, it's actually pretty fun. Like, you can have a lot more fun with it.
So you agree with me that the CDI itself is not the problem.
don't.
It's these fucking third-party controllers that were made for it. These other companies sort of sabotage the good name of the CDI, besmirch it.
CDI can.
I shouldn't say those things. I've never sampled a CDI. You can't knock it until you try it, right?
By the way you've been talking about it, I already knew you had never
Nope.
experienced.
I made that pretty evident, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You know, it's like using deodorant for the first time. It's a revelation, you know.
Right.
Well,
Yeah. Only if you smell like
yeah,
shit, like
it's a good
the
analogy, and that
CD.
something definitely
CDI.
stinks in this analogy.
Yeah, there you go.
Were the Zelda there were a couple of Zelda games, right? Weren't they revered as being pretty decent?
No, they're pretty bad. I actually think the Zelda games are the worst games I've played on the CDI. Hotel Mario is really good though.
I didn't.
Ian's got PTSD from that though.
Yeah, with 99 levels.
I mean,
Ian, how long
tell
did
you
you
about
play
my
it?
time.
Oh
Like
god, it was
8 hours?
Yeah, 8 hours straight that one time on stream. Yeah,
And what level did you get to?
like level like 80. No. I think it was like between 60 and 50. I think is how far I got in.
And there's 99 levels.
Yeah. So
I didn't
honestly,
You're telling me Hotel Mario might be like a 3-hour plus game?
yeah, no, it's a long ass game. Like for one sec.
So was that game was never officially released, was it, or was it released?
Yeah.
Hotel Mario was, yeah.
What was it? There
There is a game called Super Mario's Wacky Worlds.
That's right.
That wasn't released, but there is a dev playable like demo of it out there or prototype, and you can kind of like go through some of the stages.
It looks and plays like shit. Basically, like if somebody took the sprites from Super Mario World and made a Mario game in Scratch.
You literally
it
never
fucking was
played
terrible.
it.
I've seen it. I've seen it in action.
I played it.
Why would I want to play a terrible
controls
game?
pretty well,
I'm not the angry video game nerd. I'm not trying to make jokes.
I'm
I'm a very serious person.
It plays and controls like Miyamoto always wanted it to.
Why the hell did I think? Why in the hell did I think that the Zelda titles on the CDI were revered as quality? Oh, that's right, because I was thinking of like Nintendo consoles. Never mind. Excuse me. I'm such an asshole.
They were all worth quite a
you
bit, though.
watch-
That's the other thing too. I think a lot of people think because they cost so much, there must be something there, but there isn't.
It's just scarcity. That's a good question. How much were how in volume? How much were these games printed, and in volume, how deeply was the CDI system distributed? I mean, really,
It was around for like 8 years, I think. So it had a pretty long lifespan. I mean, in some games some games are pretty easy to find. The Zelda ones tend to be a little bit more difficult to find. So oddly enough, I don't think those were, like produced in high numbers. But other stuff like Burn Cycle is really easy to find. But I think because that was kind of like, I think that was their pack-in game at some point.
Yeah, Burn Cycle was the one they pushed the most when they started marketing it. At least as a game console, yeah.
Right. Once they decided to like put it as a game console, that's one of the ones that they put out. But
Come on. Wasn't this CDI thing like just for like prick executives in Manhattan to store?
I mean, it's been a long time since I did my research on the CDI, but if I remember correctly, I mean, it sold over 1 million.
So the CDI actually has Coke lines built into the molding on the top of the case that you.
And you know that the CDI, you could get online with it. A lot of people don't know that.
Who here, when it was in its infancy, remembers the CDI? As a kid, I don't remember ever seeing or even hearing of the CDI.
I absolutely remember it. I remember seeing the fact that there's like live action Zelda games and getting excited to see what that would be like. And then of course, because I was like 11 or 12, I heard about that game Voultar, and I was like, oh my god, porn and a video game both at the same time. But yeah, then I actually played them later on in life and realized I missed nothing as a child. It was way better wanting those things that I thought would have been awesome and not actually getting them than it would have been to actually get them.
But I remember a lot of people don't remember that like CDI was covered in like EGM and GamePro. Like it was actually, remember how like GamePro used to have that ribbon at the top of the magazine with each console being covered or whatever? It would be up there, next to your Super Nintendo and Neo Geo and all that stuff.
Look at Jimmy coming through.
Wow.
This is one of my very few English publications I brought with me to Japan. I bought my grandmother this when I was a wee lad in the 4th grade. The 1994 Video Game Buyer's Guide. I was at a Long's Drugs, if you guys have ever been to Hawaii. You can buy anything you like. Okay, I'll buy this. Let's see what they say about the CDI.
They still exist in that?
Oh, do you have a bookmark? Do you read this frequently?
Oh, I just, well, I actually think they actually say something nice about it in here. Okay, so the Philips CDI began life as more of an education tool than a game system. Oh, truer words have never been published. Thank you, EGM.
It's gonna educate you on what a
CDI
game
from
should
Philips has been out in stores for a while now, but it never seemed to catch on. Oh, just like Yahel's sex life. Maybe it was the lack of any real video games, with more of the emphasis placed on education or for kiddies and sports titles for dad. There's brighter news on the horizon, however. With games like Link, with games like Link, 7th Guest, Zelda, and even a miniature golf game, more emphasis placed on fun rather than education. Don't expect too much from this system, though. $399.99. What a piece of shit!
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Well, you're gonna say it. You'll say it after you play it, though. And also the CDI. Here's the scores that the CDI got from EGM. There's two people who had 7s with Yahel and his mom. So I wouldn't take that as gospel. But anyways, I love looking at these old magazines. They're great.
Well, to be fair, I think Thunder in Paradise for the CDI was released like in '96. And that's the game changer.
Okay. Well, I have the 98.
No, it was probably 94.
You want to see how much they shit on the CDI in that one? This is awful.
Thunder in Paradise was I like the intro theme. I used to watch it a lot. And then I loved Thunder in Paradise. I loved the boat. What was the boat called?
Yeah.
Thunder. Okay.
I love the thought that it was a stealth boat.
Inner cover ad for Pocky and Rocky. It's a different.
I love that the boat was like very hyper masculine. It'd be like missiles armed.
It was like the Knight Rider version of the. It was like Knight Rider meets Titanic.
I actually really enjoyed Knight Rider, though. Not the last season, but the first 3 were actually pretty good. They still hold up, a couple of the episodes.
Are you talking about the reboot or
no? The original.
Listen. You want to get those 27-inch pythons? You just take your goddamn vitamins, you fucking pray to Jesus every night, and you say your prayers. And you eat your spinach.
Yep. So stay on drugs, drink your skull, and don't do milk.
I don't know if you know, but on the Thunder in Paradise CDI game, like JT from Step by Step is in it. He's like one of the main characters in it.
Oh my god. I love the step by step.
I think I've told this on I told this on our last stream, but I'm not sure if anybody else has heard it, but I met that guy in real life when I was working at a gas station and I was 16 years old. So he was probably 17, 18 at that point.
You took a ride in his car,
yeah.
didn't you?
And then he came. He had a Trans Am that had like 500 horsepower, and he was a terrible driver. He almost hit like a million people, but it was fun. And then he came back a week later wanting to buy guns. I'm like, it's a gas station. There's no guns here. He's like, well, can I use your phone? And I'm like, okay. And my boss is looking at me like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, I don't know. Give him a minute. See what happens. And then he was just going through the phone book, calling gun shops, going, I don't have a gun permit, but can I buy a gun? No. Okay, thank you. I don't have a gun permit. Like, what?
Well, I don't know if you know, but he got like shot while in his car or something like that.
Well, I didn't give him the gun, so I don't know what you're insinuating.
No. I'm just saying, like, I'm wondering if this was after the fact. Like, but he got shot while in his car, something like in both arms. And maybe he was, or maybe Patrick Duffy was after him. You never know with that Patrick Duffy.
That wily.
What if it was Suzanne Summers? She was like, "Fuck Thigh Master, I'm gonna shoot your ass."
I don't think he'd be that upset if she was.
The dude who played Cody,
like Zenyo on a top.
The dude who played Cody, he did all the kickboxer knockoff movies. His name was Sasha something.
Mm-hmm.
Evidently, like, he beat the shit out of his wife and all this, and like he's had a pretty troubled life too. I remember reading
Step by Step.
Yeah, exactly. that step-by-step money just didn't last too long, I don't guess.
I imagine his downward spiral began when JT got the part in Thunder in Paradise and he didn't.
There you go.
He handle it.
I did 3 kickboxer knockoffs. I should be in Thunder in Paradise, not you, but me or Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm mad. I'm calling my agents.
Me refill
That's
my
funny shit.
Oh my God! Well, I tell you, I just so is it? I mean, I
CDI shill. Ladies and gentlemen.
Now that he's gone, we can really talk about the CDI.
No, I can talk shit. What the fuck was that, Bob? Can we remove him from this call? What the fuck was that? Am I the only one? I'm just saying what everyone's thinking.
Has anybody here played the Ganbao Goemon translations by DDS yet for 2 and 3? Has anyone checked those out?
I'm not, but I retweeted them out, and God bless them. I even left a little snarky Easter egg in my last Goemon video, which I know you haven't seen, Zach.
I don't watch your content, but that's really good. I'm really looking for that. I do watch your content. I used to name drop you all the time. I used to name drop.
I've heard you say some nice things about me, saying that I'm a fine thespian. I don't even know what that means. I'm confused.
Look it up, Eddie Bravo. Look it up.
Oh, right. You mean Edgy Bra?
Edgy Bra. Yeah, exactly. Edgy Bra. I know the world's
I know what
flat.
you're talking about. Yeah, dude. I think Bob was just talking about how he believes the world's flat.
Man, that guy could definitely beat the shit out of me, and he's still wrong about the world being flat. So there you go.
I love them. Those are the best kind of people, though. You could beat the shit out of me, but you're still
flat earther striking into
Eddie Bravo.
Eddie Bravo.
You need to look this person up.
10th planet, baby. Space ain't real, but
Planet
10th Planet
Jiu-Jitsu? Come on, man.
The thing that bugs me about a lot of that stuff is a lot of the conspiracy theories that you hear about are 100% true. They get some of the stuff around it wrong, but the voices that you hear the most are not the people that are like, look, here's the research I did. It's the Eddie Bravos, the Alex Joneses. It's Elf Aliens. Elf Aliens is what did it. So
I don't care what anybody says. Alex Jones is fucking hilarious.
He's not trying to be.
I mean, I know, but that's what's funny to me. That's where the hilarity comes from.
The last time I had a stream, Bob was on there and Ian was on there too, and I said the same thing, Zach. I said, Alex Jones, I don't care what he says. I think he's funny as hell. And somebody got pissed off in my chat.
Really? Well, I don't take
flat. I was like, oh, well, you know what?
The people who get pissed off are the silly people who take Alex Jones seriously. How could you ever take Alex Jones seriously?
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of... I know Ian hates Alex Jones, but there's a lot of information about him. But even then, it's like, come on.
The bone broth. That's how they ate. Remember the bone broth? He was selling that bone broth that was like infused with goddamn iron. He's like, this is how the ancients stayed alive. They had the bone broth, and we have the documents.
Yep.
Anytime anybody talks about the documents, that's all I could hear in my head now. For the rest of my life, that'll probably be it.
It's amazing how these little like sound bites and these memes.
The Sega CD video. Have you ever seen the Sega CD video?
Oh, yeah, but have him on there, yeah.
With Alex Jones, he's like, "You do that, you buck the system, you'll be ready for the next level."
You want to share?
No.
You did. Oh God!
Please, post this video.
Okay, here it is. I'm putting it. It's
I don't know
so
if any of you have
good.
ever found this on Amazon, but there is a soundboard for Alex Jones, which has literally thousands of voice cues.
I can't do it, Bob.
Put it
you
in
don't
the
have,
Skype
give
chat.
me administrative
Put it
privileges in your chat.
Post something in the chat so I can do it.
I did. I just did, Bob. It
No,
says it's
post
removing
like
the
Bob
address.
is fat in the chat, and then I could click on that and give you privileges.
Bob is getting thinner and sexier.
Okay, Bob, please.
That's the love, though.
Please.
Sucks.
Have you been giving me the permissions? No.
It takes
Yeah,
a second
I don't
to kick in,
have a
or to
wrench here.
do.
Oh, Bob, this isn't marijuana. This is the goddamn internet.
It could be.
Yeah,
No,
how
that
long
was
is a
about
$500 donation?
Bob.
Yep.
Yeah, Bob. Did you thank that
As long
person?
as like how big, I guess it's proportional to how.
Oh, wow.
I absolutely thank that person.
Kind of like the like Yahel, like the quality of your videos increases directly in proportion to your delusions of how the CDI is a video game console. So I think you've been hitting it out of the fucking
They're at an
park.
all-time high right now. Then
It's at a all-time high. So that's the good news. The
I
bad
appreciate
news
that.
is you have terrible taste in video games. And you may or may not be a fake gamer girl, from what I've heard.
With hair that
Yeah.
nice, it has to be.
My friends on 4chan have been talking.
I'm gonna
shit.
have to go with fake gamer girl
No.
just because of how funny I think all of those things are.
Yeah,
yeah.
dude. I got this fucking Casio Loopy though that I brought out for Gamer Geek earlier. I'm a real gamer girl.
Now you are. Yeah.
Bob, it's
but you
not
know-
working. You'll have to do it yourself.
not.
Post
But
it
you
in
know,
Discord.
talking about like videos and the video quality.
What's that?
Talking about videos and video quality though, like it amazes me how like some, I'm not gonna call out any names, not drunk enough for that, but some channels like never improve, they never evolve. And I'm not talking about improving your equipment.
Thanks
You
a
know,
lot.
there's other things that you can do. No, but you know, there's other things
Improving
you can
your poor attitude. And there are a couple of
Yeah,
guys in this
yeah,
chat that
exactly.
I can like now. That's why there's so much drama that follow them.
But you know what I mean? Like there's some channels that are still like, you know, they started off doing, you know, I don't know, like basically glorified slideshows, and that's still what they're doing, you know, like, you know, 7 years later or whatever, and it's like you haven't done anything to like change your presentation up or whatever. I just think like, I don't know, what are you doing it for at that point? I don't know. I think that's weird when people don't try to improve whatever it is that they're
I agree
doing.
because I kind of get OCD about that. But on the other side of things, like if I like somebody's content, I don't really care if it's a slideshow. If they're what they're saying is cool, then I'll just treat it like a podcast. But I also, on the other side of things, like I have to try to get better all the time. It's just not me. I just, you know.
But the
I've,
thing is,
I've
like,
had some
the-
really, yeah.
No, no,
I've
go
had
ahead.
some really nice people who've been like, because I don't ever put out videos, especially like last year. Oh my god! But they're like,
Why
I'm
not,
just-
Jimmy?
I'm asking you. It's like, come on. I just want to hear what you have to say about these games. I don't care if it's a slideshow at this point. Just please put out more videos. Like, dude, there's
But yeah,
so
but there's a
many
lot of
better
ways that
channels.
you can improve your videos, not just, you know, like visually. It
Sure.
could be like the way you write your script, improving your
That's why, dude,
voiceover, your
that's why this
delivery.
alien thing was such a nightmare. I fucking had to redo so much of this fucking script. This was 2 years ago, and I knew it was a shitty script. And I went over it, and like, even when I was recording it, I was like, I gotta change this entire script again. Fuck. But
Well, see, that's a great
you grow,
example,
But
though.
that's how you change, right? Because like I was like, oh man, thank God I didn't put this video out 2 years ago with this shitty script.
That's a great example, dude.
It's
like
still
my
shit.
Neo Geo, my Neo
But it's
Geo
less-
video. I pretty much finished like 90% of that script like 7 months ago, but I was like not really happy with it. So I was like, let me come back to. I can keep trying to beat this into something that's okay, or I can do another video and come back to this with a fresh set of eyes, you know, to make it better, you know. But people are just like, oh, let me just get something out. I don't know.
Let's just
It's a
pump it, keep it out, keep it coming, keep it coming.
Yeah. Now I will say, if I was doing YouTube full time for a living, you know, I'd probably have a different
You'd have
perspective.
to. You'd be doing Raid Shadows Legends streams every fucking weekend.
Oh, I would take all these fucking sponsorships. Number one,
I would sell
out
that immediately.
Absolutely.
dude, I'd be like, what, Minecraft? Greatest game of all
I
time.
would be pushing every
GOTY every year.
Every $6 converter from like composite to HDMI on Amazon, I would be pushing. I'd be like, oh yeah, $8. It's like 10 frames of lag. It's fine.
Yeah. Fucking what is that? The shitty cable pound did have my fucking number on speed dial.
Yeah.
They'd be like,
Bob would basically not be friends with me if I was a full-time YouTuber. I'd
be
selling whatever I needed.
Yeah.
You'd be having fights with Bobs outside of convention.
Funny that I walk back after my my latest P just to come up to that word pound. I'm not even gonna tell you what it is, but you have to see the video I'm putting out next week about the lag when it comes to that. Anybody that says, well, those people are just elitists that only care about like the highest quality stuff, when you see how these things actually work, anybody that shills these things, if the world was fair, which it's not, they'd be canceled immediately. If you see the people that shill these and you see how it actually performs, it's like, oh my god, you could set up a camera and do a stream of your TV and go in the other room and it'll have less lag if you use those cables.
Jeez.
Jeez. We had a question in the chat about the Pippin. You guys have an opinion on that?
I think it's the worst, one of the, next to the Newton, probably the worst thing that Apple ever created.
Oof. I think Ian would be a guy to ask too, but this is some strong words from I guess you're a survivor, Zach, so a strong man. Yes.
I mean, I
appreciate you saying that.
I did a video on Pippin, but I mean, I only got to play one twice, and the only game I played on it was Marathon, and that was fine for the time. But I think I bet if I went back and I played it now, I'd be like, ooh, this is not a good version of this game.
Sure.
Yeah, it was interesting. My school had a Pippin. I don't know if it was some sort of educational deal, if there was some incentive for schools to buy these. I don't even know if there was really any educational software for the Pippin. But my school had one, and I remember it just being a terrible piece of shit. Sorry, that's all I can say about it.
Yeah, because it ran like a stripped down version of Mac OS, I think 7 or
7.1. Yeah, yep.
Yeah. Yep. So like there was definitely some like educational stuff on it, but yeah, I mean, as far as games, I don't know. Nah. If you want to pay $700 in the '90s for a gaming console, you go with the CDI. Am I right, guys? Am I right or am I right?
I don't know.
You're not. Yeah, you're not right.
Every time I think of the CDI, I think of everything that goes into it. If you want to play one, Dave, the same guy that sent me the picture of how he did his mod, told me about the timekeeper in it, which is a chip that has a battery in it that keeps the time. Now, you would think, like on the Sega Saturn, when the battery dies, all you have to do is reset the date every time you start up, or not, whatever. On the CDI, when your timekeeper battery dies, it will randomly kick you out of whatever game that you're playing and reset the console.
Now, wait a minute. That depends on the model.
This is true. However, the models we have, the top loaders, the timekeepers that you could buy are new old stock, which means if you just desolder the chip and drop a new one in, the new one that you drop in could actually have a dead battery in it because it's old stock. So you have to take a Dremel and grind down the chip without somehow hitting the pins on the outside. It's not something I could do. Zach and Jose could definitely do it. I couldn't. And then you have to take the battery out and then wire up another. Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yep. So I've got a 200 series CDI, and it's like that too. Like the battery's dead, so I can't save games. It can't keep time. It doesn't interfere with the play of any games, thankfully, for that model. But if I wanted to change it out, it'd be the same thing. Trying to like Dremel very carefully through to the battery, and I'm just like, it's not worth the risk.
Unfortunately,
it's not even worth the risk for me.
Unfortunately for Jose, as soon as Dave sent me that picture, I forwarded it to him, and I'm like, "You got round 2 coming." Sorry, dude.
So Bob did that to a Master System back in 2017.
Do you want to tell your version of what happens, then I'll tell the truth?
No, there's no my version, you stupid bitch. You fucked it up.
Has different perspectives.
Bob was perspective. Bob's drunk. What perspective does he have other than he likes to masturbate and drink liquor? Listen,
time?
Bob had this idea.
I'm with Bob.
Sounds pretty good.
not with Bob.
tried masturbating while drunk when you have a micro penis and a set of tweezers?
Tell us, Zach. How does it feel to be in that position?
Well, let me tell you something, Bob. Let's see. Here they are.
You have an air
right
horn?
here. It's party time, motherfuckers.
Can you imagine Ian just walking?
Yeah, Ian's definitely joining in an awkward period.
Oh,
Bob,
Bob,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I'm not going to talk.
No, I have to tell the story now because this one strikes a chord with me. I needed to sell a bunch of stuff, and I modded a Master System 2, and it came out okay. It did not come out Voultar level, but it did not suck. And he kept, being Zach, saying things like, if your penis was normal people sized, you would lift the subcarrier thing too. If you were a real man, you would reroute the thing. And I'm like, dude, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I have pictures. I followed the Voultar rules of selling on eBay. Like, everybody knows what they're getting. And so he was like, no, you have to do it. And I did it. I'm not great at this stuff. And I snapped the pin off the VDP. And when I say I threw a tantrum, it's so embarrassing for me to even think about. But it was...
This is all your goddamn fault.
Dude, it was straight up like an 8-year-old that got his cookie taken away. I was so... Yeah, it was not... The first part is Zach's fault. The second fault, holy crap, my fault. And my favorite part is I sent it to him. He fixed it for free because although he pretends to not be, he actually is a good person. And then we come to find out that the thing that he wanted me to do didn't matter anyway at all. And that's what sparked the whole you got to do the mod to reroute the things and stuff. So...
Yeah, it made a whole difference. He's just an idiot. He was using some piece of shit Adam Corley scaler. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I've never used those.
Somebody take his YouTube channel away from him right now. Somebody get on the horn. Over. Okay. Sorry. What am I doing? What's going on?
What's like an immediate turnoff from when it comes to like YouTube channels for you? It's like you start a video, they do X thing, and you're just like, I can't.
I'll tell you. There's a couple of things. If you really want me to talk about it, I will. One of the things that's an immediate peeve to me is today we're going to talk about why Cutthroat Island is the best game on the Super Nintendo. But before we do, NordVPN has you covered.
So like a quick cut to the sponsor.
Bob's next video.
No. Like the pirates from Cutthroat Island. You need to protect your privacy.
That doesn't bother me at all because I kind of get it. But what does bother me is the same thing but slightly different. Hey guys, today we're going to talk about Bronx Brewery beer. But before I do, let me talk about my last video. And hey, if you want to learn how to play guitar, I have a video about that too. And don't forget to check out my friend Yahel and Voultar's channels. And then 10 minutes later, it's like Bronx Brewery has a beer. Yeah, we've reached the 10-minute algorithm part for YouTube, so the actual video is now going to be, here's my affiliate link to Bronx Beer, and then walk away. That's what bothers me. People that are just in it.
Smart.
What bothers me more than just like the paid, the hard-coded advertisements that people put in their videos, which I understand why that's there. People need to make money. I get it. What really bothers me are the large retro gaming-focused YouTube channels that focus a lot of their content
who are you speaking to
on endorsing products that are made.
Well, why don't you come down to the big box PC dungeon?
I think I see what Zach's going for here.
All of the large, but Jimmy, shut up, Jimmy! I'm trying to say something. Go back to Shredder, you cocksucker.
Okay, what the fuck? How dare you?
Back to sweating.
No. Really, what really jams my Jimmy is that these large you heard me, these large YouTube channels who promote the absolute bottom of the barrel, worst possible thing you could ever sell to somebody product for the retro gaming community. That is why all of these terrible devices exist, not because they're being sold in brick and mortar stores, but because they're shamelessly being propagated by these YouTube channels who are incentivized to move it, whether or not they have an affiliate link or whether or not they get a very, very, very substantial kickback for even talking about it. That's why certain companies exist, and that's why a lot of the stuff that you buy, that's why the retro gaming community is just soiled and riddled with hardware that's not worth your hard-earned money. It's not a matter of it being inexpensive, and it's not a matter of me hating cheap things. Cheap things can be well-designed, and they can be of decent quality. That's my main pet peeve.
You just made my fucking blood boil when you said that, man. I can't... I can't even tell you how angry I get when somebody slaps a pile of 15 Hyperkin HDMI cables on a table and goes, "Hey guys, Hyperkin sent me these cables, and you know what? They're fine. All those people that are talking about lag, they're just elitist. They don't know what it is." And they do a 5-minute video, and with all they do is hold it up and then show game footage that's probably not even recorded with it.
Yeah, guess what? Bob the Snob. Everybody hashtag Bob the Snob. This fucking snob. Fuck you, man.
If you guys want to meme that, make sure that you put a picture of me holding up
lag.
a PBR so it's both ironic and funny.
Oh, God.
But that's my main pet peeve. I don't want to monopolize the conversation, but
money?
I love money. I promoted things too, but you know the thing. Let me just preface this. I get caught. You know, I've been accused of being a shill too. Let me just show you guys something.
If he pulls out NordVPN, I'm gonna be so pissed right now.
The things that I shill, I actually use every day.
Equipment, yeah.
Every goddamn
doesn't count
day.
as shilling if you actually believe in the product.
I know, but that's sort of the hell of being a YouTuber too, though, right? Like, I don't have a problem with people who promote things, but I just have a problem with people who erroneously promote things. Like, and I feel bad about that because I feel like when I go after those people, seriously, when I go after those people, like I do, like you guys know that I do, I feel like, man, I hope I'm not setting a precedent where I have, you know, there's this belief that I think anyone who tries to profit off of YouTube by advertising or endorsing something, they're bad. That's not how I feel at all. Sometimes I don't think I'm very clear about that, and I think that's my fault.
I think there's also a difference between doing like an ad in your video for, like the NordVPN thing. You clearly know that's an ad someone's doing, they were paid for it, versus you're doing a whole video about, you know, a Hyperkin cable or whatever. And if you like end up having like an overall positive, you know, tone to your video about it, you know, people will take that as an endorsement of it.
The personal is better than the Switch.
Yeah. You know, whereas I don't know, like a big turnoff for me, like when I put on a video, is the bad audio. Like, that's actually my big thing. My number one. I can deal with bad video, but bad audio, like I don't know.
That kills me.
Like that's real weird to me. I don't mind people like advertising stuff in their videos because I can just fast forward through that.
Sure.
But
says the guy
they're just shilling a product the whole time. Like it's like, come on.
Yeah, I do agree that there's a giant difference in any one of our channels. If any one of us started to go NordVPN, like, that's not really affecting any of the things that you have to say. But if your next ad was for, like, you know, the Philips CDI Mini, it's like, oh, shut up, dude.
What do you mean? That's a channel you can trust. That's a channel that you can. That channel is someone that your daughter can.
Go over to my change.gov, change.org petition, and also my Kickstarter and my GoFundMe. If you really want to, like, you know, do me a solid. Do you like me? Do you think I'm sexy? Do you want to fuck me? How about you go to my GoFundMe?
What the fuck is going on?
Go to jimmysonlyfans.com.
Wait. You have no right to say that, Zach. After the gobbledygook bullshit you've been spewing this whole chat.
What have I done? What have I said? What have I done?
Excuse you, sir.
I will say one time though, like I've never like done the Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship. Although I'm sure you guys have all gotten the emails for it. They put like the dollar amount that they'll give you in the email, and they're getting. I don't know what my price is, but they're getting very close to it. I feel like they are.
I was offered $500. I'll tell you. Were you close to that?
I was offered a little bit more than that. On the last one, and I feel like they're about 10 emails away from whatever my price
I have them all
is.
sent to spam.
Yahel, talk about your prank that you did. Your little joke.
That's what I'm. So I decided to do. I had never played Raid Shadow Legends, but obviously everyone advertises it. I thought it would be fun and funny to do like a live stream of Raid Shadow Legends. So I got like all this shit to like be able to like live stream from a phone, like the Raid Shadow Legends through OBS and all this stuff to like do it legit, because there is like a PC version, right? But I wanted to do it like on the thing. I thought everybody would know it was a joke. I even put like very clearly on the thumbnail, this is not sponsored, the title not sponsored. I only streamed it for like 10 or 15 minutes. I had like 20 or 30 like subscribers unsubscribe. They all thought it was like sponsored. People were just like leaving in droves because of it. So I don't know.
Those are not subscribers that you would have benefited from anyway.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, to lose that many that quickly, Like that was like I was like, oh shit, I better stop this. It took me like 4 hours to set up the screen.
I've had so many comments like that over the years, like this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, unsubscribed, and I'm like, I have the measurement up on screen with me. My favorite.
No, dude, I was literally like looking at my sub count like as
dropping.
I was doing the stream, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta stop.
This mass exodus of subscribers brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
Basically.
Wow,
Sorry,
what a
Bob.
good,
Yeah, I was
what
gonna
a
say
good
that
voice.
sounds like
What a
straight
good
up the
voice he
commercial right
has.
there.
There you go.
Ian, if I hire you, will you do
Yes.
voiceovers for silly shit the next time I need something like that?
Yes,
Okay.
I would love to do that.
I'll never make you say anything that could be used against you in a soundbite, but in the context of my
You won't
video,
cut
it'd be
it
kind
out.
of funny.
Regarding Ian's voice, I notice he often gets two things, right? Either American Psycho, Patrick
Oh, yeah,
Bateman,
Patrick Bateman,
or Jack from Jack in the Box. Who's that guy who sounds like Jack from Jack in the Box? That's a comment that I often get. So you could be a voice actor. You could be in commercials. You could have had class. You could have been a contender.
I was like, yeah, whenever I do
Instead
like
of what
radio,
you are.
whenever I do
just
radio
a
stuff in the
bum.
army, I'm always like, this is your friendly neighborhood. Just go off on a thing.
Ian's one of the few people whose
always
voice fits who they are in person. Like if you
looks
stand
like
next to
that.
him,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, that fits. That works.
One of my favorite things that Ian posted ever on his channel was when we were at PRG last year. Like he like posted this video, this VR 360 camera video or whatever, and occasionally you would see like somebody would bump into him because he's a big dude already, you know, and he's wide, he's tall, he's got this backpack on, and like they bump into him. You see it from the back of the camera, and then they're like kind of mad, and then he turns around and they're like, oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, sir.
It's just like 20 minutes of him turning around. People go, oh, I apologize.
It's fine country.
I apologize for you hitting me, sir.
You know what? Like you ever watch The Road Warrior? You ever watch that movie? It's a
Of
very
course.
popular movie. You know, there's the humongous, right? But he speaks very eloquently, and he's like, "Oh, we just want your oil." That's Ian. You know, even though his voice fits him, like I'm like, yo, the humongous. I never felt there was a disconnect with the body and the voice. And then now Ian just is proving it to me. He's very well spoken. He's eloquent. And he's this big giant who's gonna fucking murder and rape you for oil and other resources in
I just
Australia.
think it's funny when we were all hanging out at
Sorry.
that bar in Portland, that burger place, and I think I said something totally douchey, like, hey Ian, there's some square tables, so we can put two together so
Imagine
we can
that.
stretch them to 16 by 9 if you want. And he looked at me like, who is this fat fuck making fun of me? And I'm looking at him like, clearly I'm not going to win the fight, so let's all just have some fun.
No, that was fucking funny.
You
I
did
have a
bid on
problem,
that though. You
I
did
have a
give him
problem.
the fucking shirt.
Oh, so maybe you should let the chat know about Ian's predilection for
Why don't we let
yes.
Ian describe it
resolution.
in his own words?
the true way to experience things in a rectangle, 16 by 9.
Form. Right. Tell us, boy. How were you before you met the retro tink?
No, I don't know. I have one of those.
The
brains where I'm
OSSC.
like, eh. Oh, that thing. It's pretty neat, but I need to update the firmware and stuff. 'cause I have-
Before you saw the light of
Zach,
the
he's
OSSC
a
sun.
he's a
What are
16
you
by 9
doing?
apologist.
Well, I mean, let's get to the heart
yeah,
of the
16
issue.
by 9 apologist. Yeah.
You like
you
to
were
play
having all
four
the
three
sexual
games in
positions at 16 to 9, going to hell.
My favorite thing recently, though, the TV in my garage still automatically stretches to the 16:9. So I have to go through the OSSC now anyway. So everyone's doing the whole 4x3 proper, and then on my screen I have it the way I want it.
I've told Ian so many times, Ian, in OBS, you can just like make it 4:3. You know, you can change the aspect ratio of it. Even if you're watching it in 16, he's like, no, this is the future.
I don't understand. So you like
16:9 purists.
you like 4x3 content in 16 by 9?
He's the one
I'm
person
the
that
worst
mode
in
is
that.
for.
It doesn't bother me in terms
You
of like
sick fuck.
For me, wasted screen space is more irritating to me than having pixel perfect.
I will say,
Dude, that's like saying
Ian,
stop
the savior,
working out and let your muscles go
Jeremy
flaccid so that
Dixon
you can
from
have
chat.
this screen space of your arms evenly distributed to your elbows.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's accurate, Bob.
That's like people who complain about letterbox videos. Like, God damn it, I don't want these black bars in this wide image. I want my fucking CRT to be fully full of the
No.
glorious
Well,
pictures.
you do
I want
know,
to lose
hey,
a third of
dude.
the picture at any given time.
No, yeah. I don't
Pickle.
want my full screen picture being cut cut from the top and bottom. Okay.
But Ian, correct me if I'm wrong. I think
I'm not trying to defend my irrational behavior as like the right way to do this. I'm just saying what I prefer.
But Ian, I do think, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that a big part of the reason why you do it now is just to kind of like get under people's skin, right?
Keep the joke going. Yeah, that's the only reason why.
You know what'd be funny? You know what'd be really, really funny? Like if this is kind of like sort of making fun of someone I talked about earlier having the best possible video scaler in the world for $20. But listen, it'd be funny if he made a video on YouTube. He's like, guys, and he was so serious about it. He's like, I just figured something out. Nobody knows about this. This is going to change the goddamn world of retro gaming.
Wait. Dreamcast had 1080p native.
Right. 1080p native, and listen, widescreen does exist for goddamn Atari, goddamn Nintendo, goddamn Super Nintendo. All it takes. I don't have a. Oh,
you don't even have anything that will do it.
One button on your remote can change the fucking world. Let's do this. And then cue up his intro, like, da-da-da, you know, whatever his intro is. I don't know if he has an intro. And then he's like, you know, he presses the button, boom, widescreen, video over, 3 million views. Right there.
I'd promote it.
Celebrity status.
Dude, that's going to provide a lot of shit talk on any of your Twitter feeds. Bob,
I'm ready.
Zach.
Who wants Luigi looking like Mario?
You lied to us all this time.
Exactly. You've lied to us this whole time.
This whole time. It was as simple as that. You made us spend all this money. You made us send in our consoles to get modded.
Wait, wouldn't the joke be on us if we found out that Hyperkin paid him thousands of dollars to stretch it to 16:9 because that's how some of their dumb cables do to their actual game consoles?
Hey,
our cables were designed to take advantage of the complete real estate of your flat panel display.
I like to think Ian actually secretly works for them, and he just hasn't told us. This is a long-term con, basically.
That would be pretty funny.
Ian, as your brand manager and your lawyer, I just want to say, don't say anything right now.
Take notice of the... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. To be fair, if the Air Force hadn't have fucked me on their scheduling, I probably could have gotten a 500-pound bomb dropped on a box of Hyperkin cables. But...
Yeah, Zach.
Take notice of the inferior products that not only don't fill the entire screen real estate, but leave terrible, nasty black bars on each corner, on each side of your screen.
And also can't withstand
Zach,
a 500-pound bomb.
This was the Ian that we were going to have a whole bunch of things set up so that we could actually put them in a military test range and have him film them get blown up. This was the Ian that was about to make that happen.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool.
I saved them all. I'll wait till next year. I'm patient.
I was so fucking irritated. Like, the Air Force, they called me, like, the day before, and I'm like, you motherfucker!
By the way, I'm not sure if I should be admitting this, but shout out to Ryan from Castlemania Games for sending me a bag of those to get blown up by the military. I swear. Those are still sitting right there waiting for me to send them to you to make this happen.
Yeah.
I often wonder if Ryan's business at Castlemania Games is always operating in the red because of you and I, Bob. Bob's not saying anything.
Castlemania is amazing. So whatever you do, don't buy Hyperkin, Pound, Level Hike. Oh, okay, there goes half my roster.
There goes half his inventory, you sick bastard.
Hey, but there's plenty of other good stuff on there to
Ryan sells a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
He sure does.
Yeah.
Including his soul. Absolutely.
Man, I wish he was on here. It's always much funnier when you're teasing him when he's here in the chat to mess with us.
I met him in Ohio. I don't know if he knew who I was.
Of course he did.
But,
I still don't know who the hell you are. I mean, what are you doing here? I mean,
I'm nobody.
Or...
I'm nobody. Just like Charles Manson said, you know? You want to know
Jimmy,
who I am?
Do you know if he's like Kevin Spacey's character in The Usual Suspects? And by that, I don't mean a molester of children, but...
I was going to say...
No, actually, you do. That's actually part of the lore here.
Just the guy that's like... No, because like Jimmy's like really well known. Like you look at like a lot of like really big channels. Like they know Jimmy, they trust Jimmy. They use Jimmy like as a resource. You know, they have him help with videos and stuff. And like
all the bitch work goes to Jimmy. Yes,
I know.
But like because Jimmy isn't on camera and his videos and stuff, like a lot of people don't know who he is. Like they don't know his face and that kind of stuff. But he's like kind of like very involved though behind the scenes in a lot of like bigger channels.
Maybe like
and it's unfortunate that we haven't found somebody.
He's the puppet
that's very nice. I'm not going to say anything nice about the CDI ever again, though, if we can just say for Brett. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
I never, it's whatever. I mean, I never experienced the CDI, but if he enjoys it, so what? Don't try to deprive him of his joy.
Jimmy actually always brings up the CDI. Like, he'll be doing a live stream. I'll join it. I won't mention the CDI because, I play it all the time. I don't have to talk about it. It's like I don't
play it all
make my
the time.
penis all the time. But Jimmy always brings it up. Like he's jealous of something. And he feels inadequate because it's not in his collection. I don't know. I'm just talking here.
I'm Jimmy the Truth Ventura. That's who I am.
Jimmy, what's your favorite video game console of all time? If you had to pick one,
PlayStation 1.
That's fair.
Interesting.
That's a fucking great system.
I actually did not expect
Super Famicom, Super Nintendo, maybe shortly after, and then after that,
I thought you
Sega
definitely.
Saturn.
I thought you would have went with. This is what I thought your lineup would have been: Super Famicom, PC Engine, Saturn, and then whatever else comes after.
PC Engine, no, because the PC Engine FX forums just turned me off from PC Engine forever.
That's everybody.
I'm never gonna be good enough. It's kind of those Neo Geo people. I'm never gonna be good enough for these people.
Yeah, that forum's cancer.
Hey Zach,
PC Engine's great.
Sorry to interrupt, but Stadium Arts was actually serious about buying that Saturn lid from you. What's the best way to reach you?
If you got
snort.
if you've got a Twitter, just tweet at me. Or go to my website, Voultar.com. There's a contact form. Contact me via my website.
Just don't go psycho on him.
Yeah,
thinking,
Yeah.
We were supposed to be friends. You were the chosen one. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Holy shit, there's a lot of pressure for a guy who just mods video games.
All right, so I put Voultar's.
Let's do that.
Well, actually, I can't because.
Yeah, Bob didn't fix it. Bob's like, it takes a minute. I'm like, bitch,
All
it
you have
doesn't
to
take
do
a
is
minute.
post hi
Bob doesn't
in the
want
chat,
people
and
to
I
be
can
like-
click on that and say
Bob
make
doesn't admin
administrator.
people.
It's not that hard.
Dude, Bob is the only admin on your channel, Adam Koralik. Because the one day he actually comes and sees like, oh, I'm a mod?
That would be very funny.
the
You
admin
know,
of your
when you
heart.
click on somebody and you go to mute this account,
What
block
the
this
fuck?
account,
Yeah.
make administrator on this channel, they're all right next to each other. How funny would it be if I accidentally did that?
Yeah. Accident.
Is this gonna work? Is this going to work? Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus. Bob, how long
Oh,
are you going to
damn it doesn't work.
It's been almost, 4
It's
hours?
been 2:40.
No, 3 hours.
Until everybody gets
2:40,
bored,
okay.
and then I'm done. But I'll keep drinking until we're done.
Yeah, I do have some breakfast
I,
delivered, so once that comes in, I'll.
You're going
Get
to
off.
eat it a little bit? You're going
but I
to
can
get
still
off
hang
for
a
good?
while. Yeah,
I
probably.
gotta take
'cause,
off in about 10 minutes.
It's early for me,
Don't-
but I'm
don't-
still down for a little bit.
Oh,
I've got to
really?
eat lunch. I've not eaten lunch, and my thin toned frame needs.
All right, why don't we
nourishment.
wind it down in
I-
the next 10, then, and we all bail on this then. But thank you all for joining. This was fun.
Yeah, another 10, 15 minutes.
okay.
It's been fun.
Yep.
I think we've. I
was
thought we
thinking
were
of
gonna.
beer. But everyone's going to have to leave, so.
It's like
Yeah.
3 in the morning there, right?
Their lives. It is 3 in the morning, but
You're
I've.
like, "Let me get some more beer."
It's 1:53 here where I'm at.
It is 10:54 in the morning here.
Ian, where the
I
fuck are
can't
you
remember the
at?
last time I
anyway?
was up.
Potato Land.
Wait, what? Oh, yeah.
In Idaho.
That's
Mountain
right.
time.
Okay.
Also with Lemon Party, I didn't know about what that was
Oh yeah,
until.
your super chats are off, Bob.
They're
happened?
off?
Oh,
I didn't
what'd
turn
you do?
anything off.
we got.
But he pointed it
Zach,
out in the chat.
It's
John did the
because I posted lemonparty.org.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that must be funny. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete that then. Remove.
No, I didn't. I really didn't. I didn't post
You just said
lemonparty.org.
it.
I did lemonparty.org. I didn't put a link in like that. Are you crazy?
It's still showing up for me. So
Well, that's why I did it that way, so it would show up. Because
Oh,
I
now
tried.
it's showing up
the
for
super
me.
chat stuff, but yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
Now it's showing
And
up.
also, yeah, I mean, Stage 1 gave $500.
Yeah,
Freaking
he
nuts.
messaged me. He said he wants to get with me and do things. I don't know what that means.
That's Contra on
he's
Twitter.
got money.
I didn't realize that was the same person.
$500, you can do whatever you
Yeah,
want.
so you mentioned like, oh, you know,
I hope to God you
I heard
sent
that,
me
Ian.
$500. Why the fuck did you
I heard
Contra?
your smooth baritone voice coming. $500.
Why would you send Bob $500? I need that money.
Dude, you live in a place where a house costs $1.50. You don't need shit. My Starbucks coffee
That's
costs
not-
more than your mortgage.
Bob, I'm sorry that my goddamn basement is bigger than your entire apartment complex, but that's not. I didn't choose to
Dude,
live
your
in New
basement
York.
is definitely bigger than my apartment. There's no doubt about
Well,
that.
that's... Oh, god damn it. All right. I had fun. It was nice meeting you all that I've not met and to speak
Yeah,
to you.
you, man.
You're good men. I like you. I bet you look good without your shirts on. Can I see that? Wow.
Well, okay, if you really want.
Oh, Bob, I saw your tit! Oh, God, Bob,
Oh,
you gotta
nip slip, oh jeez.
Bob, you've got to lactate. That's the only way. The only way, Bob.
You guys.
What? Hey, so
We
what's
still have a little bit of time. We can bullshit some more.
so the three of you? What are your favorite? Real quick, in a few words, what is your favorite top 2 video game consoles? I'm
Ian,
serious.
you're up next.
Mine is seriously.
It's
not
gotta be the CDI.
It's
It's
Super
definitely
Nintendo.
CDI.
No. In all seriousness, Super Nintendo. I mean, it was like the first time I begged my parents for a console, and it just has a lot of very memorable, nostalgic memories for me. And I think like that generation holds up very well to this day.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's certainly not just graphically or technically, but the quality of the games have absolutely stood the test of time, especially from third parties like Square. Like you look at games like Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana and Mario RPG. Oh my God, I'm jizzing all over all three of you right now.
And the controller, man.
You ever seen this, Zach?
What's that?
See that or not?
What's that? Oh, look at that! Not
Did
beautiful.
you just have that laying around?
I'm next to a lot of my video games, but
Beautifully.
I know where they are.
You know, I've made it. The problem, though, with SNES games in the United States, especially a lot of those fabled RPGs, is that they're so goddamn expensive. That's why I designed a lot of the stuff that I designed. So you could buy this game.
16-bitter.
You could buy this game for
I don't know if you
$4,
changed the
$6 shipped from Japan, and spend $15 to get it translated.
Or you could spend $8 to get it translated and buy that nice whiteboard that's up on OSH.
Dude, have you guys
Nice.
have you guys noticed? And I'm just bringing this up because I've had the Super Nintendo Mini since it came out, but I never really like played it that much. And but my girlfriend and I, we went through like Donkey Kong Country on it like a month or so ago, and man, the emulation on it's not, at least for that game, not that.
It's pretty good. I thought it was pretty good.
It was the first time I can remember. Like, I'm not one of those people that's always like, I like emulation. I have no problem with it. I'm not one that's like, oh, this isn't emulated right or whatever. But this is the first time I was like, this isn't right. These jumps aren't like quite right. The inputs don't seem to like be timed correctly. Some of the sound was a little weird. Am I just crazy? Am I the only one that?
Is this for the Mini? Is what you're talking about?
Yeah, the Mini. Now, I will say the other few games I've played on the Mini, like, to me, were flawless.
Sorry about that.
EKC, like, I was just like...
Hey, Ian, what are your favorite consoles anyway? We keep getting cut off every time you talk.
Oh, yeah. No, I was sitting there, I'm like, I guess we're talking about. I like the flow of the conversation more so. But I don't know, to me, it would be the Genesis and Dreamcast. Genesis more so just because I remember it's my brothers and myself getting into these amazing, just giant fist fights over the Genesis, which was
Is your brother your
good
size?
times. But
good.
Pretty
There you
close.
go.
Both my brothers are. So they were good, just nice knockdown fights because it would be like one of us would be playing. I think my brother would be playing Madden, and one of us would walk up and turn it off, and then it would just explode into a giant fist fight. Just remember the good old days on that one. And then Dreamcast later because it was like just that great Sega apology for the sound.
Oh man, so beautiful! How dare you? God damn it!
Apology.
Yeah, I know. Because
Yeah,
he's such a Saturn hater.
In the United States, that's fair. You can say that the United States
No,
released.
Well,
Here's the thing. No.
It's
Ian
funny. Jimmy
has
and my
seen the way, the truth, and the life.
No,
he's seen me play some amazing Saturn.
No, it's really funny because we've
let it come on America.
Well, we've had the conversation where I'm like, man, it's such a shame that Bernie Stolar was like, no, none of that 2D shit, only 3D. That's all we're bringing to America. I don't want any of that nice looking 2D sprite stuff that looks great and plays well.
He was just saying what everyone was thinking. I bring that up again.
Yeah,
it was you.
That was just it was a more systemic problem within Sega that the Saturn represented that really wasn't addressed until it was too late.
I think had the Sega Saturn stuck to its roadmap of just being it was intended only to be a super 2D powerhouse, had they had not gotten Sony on their mind and had they not decided they had to compete in the 3D space, I think the Sega Saturn would have had a lot better. I'm sorry, but for the first, 5 goddamn years of the PlayStation 1 and the Nintendo 64, all those 3D-based games sucked. I would have much rather had very high-quality 2D games. Very high-quality
You are batshit crazy. But also, Virtual Fighter, man. That was like Sega's bread and butter in that era. Come on, Virtual Fighter 1 and 2.
Dead or Alive was a lot better on Saturn, you sick
Dead or Alive... Dude, I don't know. I have both of them.
If Jose was here, he would punch me right in the face for saying this, but Virtua Fighter 1 and 2, pressing a punch button and then counting to 10 before the punch was actually thrown on the screen, not my cup of tea.
I'm not saying I like them, but it was, dude, at least in Japan, Virtua Fighter was bigger than fucking Street Fighter 2. Like, Virtua Fighter 2, Virtua Fighter 3, Virtua Fighter 4, bigger than Street Fighter 4.
Dynamite Deca, best game ever made.
Okay, you're just saying that because there's a receding hairline Bruce Willis on the cover of the Japanese version.
But have you guys played Rise of the Robots on CD?
Played it on.
I know.
It's like the worst
Rise of the Robots. Have you played Rise of the Robots?
That's the worst port of that.
Yeah, it's the worst port of
I think he said this is like probably one of the few humans who's played every version with the exception of the Amiga port. I can tell you, the CDI one's just the worst due to sheer mechanics.
But there is a fighting game on the CDI. Every genre's covered, boys. Name a genre. It's covered. Name it. Roller coaster on rails FMV shooters. It's covered on the CDI.
Zombie dinosaurs on a planet.
Yeah.
Covered.
What about Louis Armstrong, an American Songbook?
You know what? It's covered.
Yeah. It's more relevant.
What about
now
middle
than
school
ever.
level acting and elementary school level programming? Oh, the Zelda games. We got those too.
That's Eastern Bloc program.
I wasn't sure if you were talking about Thunder in Paradise.
No, I still honestly haven't played Thunder, so we're going to do this live together.
But you said the programming. I can't. I'm good grab. I am literally gonna have to pay somebody to like create a Mr. FPGA core for the CDI.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay a lot of money, Bob. I was wondering,
how much money do you think it would take?
Probably a couple million for anyone to even think about it. But my question to Bob is, did you ever look at the Raspberry Pi 4? And did you ever do those tests on the Raspberry Pi 4 with the run ahead? I'm really interested in that. I think that could be really good. 4K scaling, run ahead technology, lagless software emulation. Holy shit, we should get in on that.
I'm still a little skeptical, but
it's right. The fuck do with your time all day?
All I do is drink beer and yell at my friends on live streams. Clearly, so.
Exactly, I know.
No better life.
What do you guys think is like going to be like kind of like the next big development in like retro gaming, where there'd be like hardware or? Because I feel
4K scaling, 4K lagless scaling.
It's gonna be perfect Sega Saturn style emulation, with dithering effects that are like pixel perfect.
Let's think about it. What's the next paradigm? Everything imaginable almost has optical drive emulation or flash cards. We've got that covered. That era's kind of dimming out. There may be a few more things that come out, but really we've done that. We've had our FrameMeister. We've had our OSSC. We've got the Mister now. We've brought FPGA hardware simulated game consoles to the normal person. That doesn't.
I have to bring it back to this. It's gonna be Tron. There's that 3D, the NES Cen or whatever. It's gonna be like, you know what? Fuck that. We're not gonna take your favorite NES games and make them 3D. We're gonna put you in the game, and you're gonna fucking die. Because when you die in the game, you die in real life.
I think what's happened is what's been widely adopted in the past 3 years are 4K sets. Therefore, I think the next shift is going to be in 4K scaling. I think that's going to have to be the next. Oh wow! Now we're really talking.
So when you want to play Super Mario Brothers in Times Square on one of those big screens, it's got to be 4K. But when you're actually playing your fucking Mario on your fucking cell phone, it doesn't matter.
So a buddy of mine's working on something that I think
Yes.
might be the next thing. So I'm not going to talk about it. But what I will divert with is Electron Ass's answer to Yahel.
Electron Ash, not Electron Ash.
You're so drunk. You are so drunk at a 2 o'clock
Please don't
afternoon.
be so disrespectful.
He had an answer to his CDI FPGA core, which was the first step for a CDI FPGA core is modifying an existing 68,000 core because the CDI uses a weird 6870 or something. The second step is throwing it in the trash. And I quote.
It's good.
Listen,
These are all good things.
No, and also, I have a certain amount of money I'm willing to pay to somebody to develop this. So if it comes down to it, I mean, I'll fork in.
You
some
really
cash.
have a love story with the Sega CDI.
Sega
I mean, it's a love
CDI?
story between you and the Philips
Sega
C-
CDI.
the Philips
Sega
the Philips
CDI.
CDI. Between you and the Philips CDI.
I really do enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. Like, I bought it because I wanted to cover it.
Yeah.
And when I first outside of reading about it in gaming magazines, I knew no one who had a CDI. I doubt any of us did.
Rightfully so.
Right. So I would know. How dare you? I would read about it in gaming magazines and stuff. But and I saw AVGN's video on it. And that's pretty much all I knew about it. I'm like, I just didn't think it could really be that bad. So I bought one, and it's not that bad. And then the more games I played on it, I don't know, maybe because the bar was set so low for it, I was very pleasantly surprised that there's games on it that are playable. You do have to search a little bit harder for the hidden gems or whatever. But I mean, there are good games on the CDI. There really are. And most people that I show the CDI to end up coming away thinking, I'm not saying they come away CDI converts, but they're oh, it was an actual system that could run real games. This isn't as bad as I was led to believe. I don't think I would have paid $700 for it, but
Phew, Lord have mercy. Bob would have.
Dude. So Zach, when I do my live streams, if I'm not live streaming CDI without fail, people in the chat will end up requesting CDI games.
You're sick.
This is what
Hey, Zach, we were just talking about that earlier with the weird fucking fanboy stuff. Yahel has a lot of them, and
Jesus.
Once it's Yahel, I thought you'd always be true to the CDI, but you did a video on Neo Geo. I'm gonna have to unsub from you. I didn't know you were fucking
I can't
shit.
lose you.
They know the Neo Geo video is just to
Don't you know?
CDI.
I killed my grandma, and I put her in the bathtub, and she's fucking rotting in the bathtub downstairs. But I turned her room into a shrine for the CDI and Yahel, and you do a fucking Neo Geo video. How could you do this to me?
It's
You
terrifying
lied
to
to
me
me.
how accurate that might actually be.
I'm also not going to support you on Patreon anymore. It's oh god. Yeah, I don't know.
But I genuinely like the CDI. It's not a joke. I enjoy a lot of the games on it.
Is it one of those things where it's not a joke to you, but the joke's really on us?
Could be.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, maybe life has
Joke is
played a
on
cruel joke on
account
you
independent.
because you're not familiar with its greatness. So maybe that's where we're at. I don't know who snorted, but I don't appreciate it.
He's been snorting.
And neither does Jan Timmer, the man who was running Philips at the time the CDI was out.
Jan
Yes.
Timmer, and also
Well, I call him Jan. We're on that kind of level.
Okay, yeah. Yo, Janny boy.
I got his email and I was talking to him.
Oh, that's
about
right.
stuff, and he
Ian
good.
was hired a private investigator to find him.
Almost did, but I ended up
Is
going
he
with his book
ashamed?
publisher.
I mean, as a professional, is he ashamed as an executive to ever be a part of anything like the
Ashamed
Sega?
of
He
what?
was so
something he did in his
cold and
personal
direct about how he felt about the CDI. It was almost kind of really disappointing to the amount of work I tried to get in touch with him. He was like, "Yeah, we built it. You got to remember, Philips is a giant corporation, so we're kind of like a country. So I really didn't have much involvement with that shop, but we built it. It was never fast enough. It was never good enough. And yeah,
why don't you tell him the first thing that he told you though? It's hey, first off, leave me and my family alone.
that was actually funny. That was what Nintendo basically told me when I was trying to get in touch with just some archivist at their company. Like, hey, what happened with the Philips CD add-on deal? What happened there? And they were like, stop talking to us. We don't know.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck?
You ever approach Miyamoto or Miyamoto's wife's son again? Dude.
Yeah, like Ian literally like messaged like dozens of people, like found their information. Like he would send me like, oh, this is what I sent to them, be like 3 paragraphs long, just a reply. Like basically, like it might as well have been like a legal letter back from them, like saying don't look into this too much.
Oh god, my favorite one was
I'll tell you something I heard about Ian, and this is no joke. I heard this about 2 years ago. No. This is about 6 months ago. It was told to me on a private Discord channel, and don't stop laughing. It's not funny. I'm dead serious.
It's a big
You
difference.
guys, seriously, no. I need you guys to be quiet because it's really hard for me to get this out. And you'll understand why. I was told that Ian was so desperate to cover the mystery behind this that he actually contacted a group of ghost hunting agents to call upon the ghost of Gunpei Yokoi to channel his spirit to find out, to ask him in a seance what the fuck happened. I don't know if that's true, but I heard that basically there were no links he would not go to. Now, I don't know if you talked to the ghost of Gunpei, but I'm just wondering, how is he?
So I didn't get I neglected to bring someone who could speak Japanese, so it was a really I wasn't sure it was going to work. And that was the one shot I had, and he just yelled at me in Japanese for the better part of 20 minutes as he was angry.
Dude, you should have joined. You should have invited me to your fucking ghost hunting adventures. Then we would have the fucking real story.
Do you guys think it's really outlandish? I mean, it's certainly, look, it's conspiratorial as fuck, but is it really crazy to even just consider or entertain the possibility that Nintendo was so fucking furious and disenfranchised by the betrayal of Gunpei Yokoi going to Bandai that they actually did a hired hit, and it was actually the Yakuza or some other criminal agency that murdered his ass off the side of that
freeway? I talked to Gunpei Yokoi the other day.
Isn't there's a book written about that, right? That goes
Is there really?
There's actually, I'm pretty sure there's a book written about Japanese game producers doing all kinds of shady and unsolicited stuff to stop developers from going to different places.
Boy,
but
well,
I don't know.
Stopped him.
But I'll go back to the whole CDI Nintendo conversation. What I thought was really intriguing was when I was trying to like find information about the CDI and the Nintendo CD or Nintendo Philips deal. Basically, all I ended up finding was pretty much, it seemed to me like that entire deal was basically Nintendo wanting to slap Sony in the face very publicly, and they needed somebody to go along with it. And the only way Philips would do it is if Philips was given access to their IPs. So it's a really intriguing, like, roundabout thing where like neither company was really willing to talk about it, nor were they like sharing the information. And the funny thing was, one of the guys that would know about it from Philips was arrested for embezzling a bunch of money from Philips at one point. And so when I was trying to contact him, I couldn't because he probably thought I was a cop or something. And then I would talk to his acquaintances, people who worked with them. They're like, I have zero interest in ever speaking to that man again. So I'm like, well, shit.
Right.
So
and ultimately, intriguing. even if you got a hold of him, his information could easily be discounted, be like, oh, this guy's a criminal, blah, blah. So it's like,
it would be a primary source, but an unreliable primary source.
I remember Ian was messaging me like every day about his efforts. Like he has cut out about like 75% of his efforts and the amount of people he contacted. And sometimes I'd be like, Ian, maybe you should leave this person alone because it feels dangerous.
Somehow I don't think Ian's scared. I don't know why.
Nah.
No, but I was just like, you have a family.
Yeah, I don't know. If only he had an unlimited arsenal available to him. I think we're fine.
Yeah.
Well, Ian is trained as a chemicals expert, so he's just like, I assume in a lab, like mixing compounds, in case something goes awry.
Well, alrighty, guys. Well, I got to get out of here.
All right, man.
Okay.
Whoa! You just give us the dirt.
Yeah, that's it.
Now you're like, oh shit, they're on to me again. I signed an NDA, and I got.
Well, you lovely gentlemen, hang on for 1 second. Okay. I'll kill the stream. Thank you all for joining, though. This was so much fun. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Just a bunch of friends hanging out, drinking beers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever.
All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thanks all the super chats. This was all freaking awesome.
It was fun.
Thank you.